Get it on the jet sweep to the short side. Up the sideline. Sam McCaffrey. He is gone.
Intercepted. It is intercepted by the Tigers. Stephen Brogan picks it off for LC. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gherkin Companies. Coach, it's starting to feel real now.
It is. It feels like it. It smells like it. And anytime you pull in here, it's it's that time of year again. Feels like we never left.
I hear you. Thank you to the Gherkin Companies again, title sponsor of our podcast again this season, and also Glenn and Greg Badenhop here at American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store, just south of Liberty Center on State Route 109, just off of 24. All your gas, snacks, beverages, whatever you need, come on out here to American Freedom Energy and get your supplies for the football season. You can find pretty much everything you need. I think they even have some charcoal out there, I believe, at times.
Charcoal, bratwurst, steaks, hamburger patties from Sonnenberg Farms, cheese. It's unbelievable. My dad said it pretty good the other day. I was talking to my father, and he said, that deal with American Freedom Energy and you guys has been a pretty good marriage, hasn't it? And I said it's been a win-win on both ends.
Absolutely. They have Sandusky Perkins coming here on Friday for a scrimmage. They're having a little get-together, no food for their tailgate for the scrimmage, but you can stop on out here, and Greg, I believe, is going to be running the beverage counter. You can get your favorite beverage and go out there and get some snacks, and if you bring a grill, you could grill some brats out in the parking lot here.
Yes, you could, and I know it's a scrimmage, right? It's a scrimmage, but around these parts, it might as well be a game, and the folks are going to come out here. They need to get prepared for the season as well, so they got to get warmed up with their tailgate. And Liberty Center state finals last year, Perkins gets beat in the state finals by Indian Valley.
Yeah. 2
state finalists going at it in the second scrimmage. To me, it feels like more than a scrimmage.
I bet you that's one of the best scrimmages in the entire state. Here in week 2 of scrimmages.
Oh man, there will be some people that'll come from the surrounding area just to take that in, because there's going to be some slobber knocking going on in that thing, because Perkins is a physical football program as well, and we know Liberty Center's physical.
Perkins lost some dudes from a year ago, as did Liberty Center. They have a lineman, I know Perkins does, that is a commit to UNLV, who some are saying could jump into the college football playoff this season with what they have.
Yeah, UNLV is a very intriguing program to follow. I was watching some stuff on them as well. They got a high-profile coach. Who's their new head coach?
You're right.
High-profile guy.
You're going to have to look at it.
I'm going to, real quick.
Yeah, if you got nothing better to do on Friday night and you want to see a good football scrimmage, come out here to Rex Lindgren Stadium, Kip Kern Field, 6 o'clock. Sandusky Perkins in town.
And I think we'll learn, again, it's a scrimmage, so you want to get out healthy. Your starters aren't going to play the whole time and all that kind of stuff. But you talk about a barometer for both programs to kind of see where they're at going into week 1. Head coach at UNLV, Dan Mullen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dan Mullen. Yes.
Yes. So, that lineman is an absolute horse. He is huge. And was there a picture of him in the magazine? Did I see a picture of that kid?
Well, we don't have Perkins in the magazine.
Okay.
It was somewhere else you saw him.
Nice big color photo of him. I was thinking it was a magazine, but I mean, this dude's a stud.
He looks the part.
He looks the part.
Kellen Weimer on the other side, who is just a junior for LC, and Garrison Cruz, who's getting some major looks as well, a running back for the Tigers this season.
Yeah, it sounds like Garrison Cruz already, one scrimmage into it
He looks the part.
Like a man. Yeah.
I'm hearing he is looking really good, as the rest of the Tigers are. We'll get into our conference outlooks and orientations here in a bit, but looking forward to following the Tigers this year. We will have them week 3 when Otsego comes to town.
I am very intrigued by that matchup, and I know on paper Liberty will be a prohibitive favorite, as they should be, but Craig Rutherford...
Year 2, you know they're going to make a jump.
They're going to make a jump, and he is so good at managing the game, managing the clock, and doing things to give his kids a chance. It's going to be interesting. It'll be a huge leap from year 1. I know it's only 1 year. That's going to make a big difference under his program.
Any other teams from our coverage area that you feel like could make a big leap this season? How about St. Francis? They made a big leap a year ago under Coach Josh Linke. That two-headed monster in the backfield they're going to have with Eli Beal and Rocco Pillarelli, who came over from Ottawa Hills. That will be a pretty dandy backfield for them. Rocco, I have heard, is running a pretty quick 40 this summer in the 4.3 range. You add Eli Beal to that mix. Jermaine Polk, who's headed to Rutgers.
Yep. It is going to be delightful to follow those guys. And part of it is Josh Linke. He's a class act. He's been really good to us. The kids we had on the kickoff show, Lynn, were first class. I thought great representatives of St. Francis. Rocco Pillarelli, I mean, we've known about him since his freshman year.
There too, Riker.
Yeah, Riker, Pillarelli, and then Reddick Pillarelli, who just graduated, had a great career at Ottawa Hills. So Rocco Pillarelli, maybe on paper, height-wise, a little undersized, but we've seen him over the years. He's tough as nails.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to get into all of our conference breakdowns. You ready to put your hand in the dirt here, Coach Strock, and suit up and get ready for this?
I am. And Lynn, here's the thing. I am more... You are loaded with stats and factoids and current rosters and things, which programs were hit by graduation and so forth. I rely sometimes maybe a little too much on tradition, you know, and you'll hear coaches say, well, what happened last year or 5 years ago, it doesn't matter now. Well, it seems to, because every year the same teams are at the top of the heap, you know? So I'm a big tradition guy.
I got a little tidbit for you on that here in a little bit.
Okay.
That will back that statement up.
Okay. All right, good.
It's kind of interesting. I did some looking around the conferences here the last few days, and it's quite interesting.
Okay. Well,
some of the teams that have been at the top.
You know, the old cliche, tradition never graduates. I mean, there's some truth to it in a lot of cases. One thing that concerns me, Lynn, is numbers.
Yes.
Numbers. And Liberty Center obviously is not having that issue, and there's some schools that aren't having that, but there's a lot of schools that are. You know, it used to be anybody from, say, Division 4 on down to Division 1. Like, there's no question they're going to have a freshman team, probably, certainly a JV team, and then a varsity team. Now, it's becoming more of a rarity, even in Division 4, and it's trickled down into Division 3. That's a real concern. I was thinking about that today on my drive over here, and hopefully we can somehow reverse the trend.
How do we reverse that trend? Do you have an opinion on that or thoughts? Is there a way to reverse it?
I was thinking about that. I think such a big piece of the puzzle that Liberty Center has figured out, and some communities do, is how you treat and how you handle the youth football programs. I think that's probably number one. Another part of it, though, and I think we got this feel last Sunday when we were down in Maria Stein at our WBL MAC kickoff show. I think some of it starts in the home, too. And if you are part of a family where maybe you don't have football in your roots, it's maybe not as important to you. I think another thing that really hit me that I've seen, I know kids have always had jobs. Kids have always worked. I have never seen a time in our history where kids work as much as they do now. And there's some kids that have a choice, full-time job, well, not full-time because they're in school, but 30 hours a week job or football, and they're choosing work. And, you can't begrudge a kid for that because maybe the family situation dictates it.
I can tell you this, you're gonna be working for a while once you get out of school.
Amen. And I remember just a few years before I retired, I had a group of young men, great kids, and they've done very well since, but they were more concerned with when practice was going to get over so they could go work, you know? And I'm sitting there, it was foreign to me because that was the furthest thing from my mind, you know? And so we're seeing more and more of that. And so I just don't know if the trend's going to reverse or not, but you know, a lot of these team pictures now, freshmen always used to be in a separate picture at I'm not saying in Division 7, but in Division 4, 3, 2. Now, it's pretty much all hands on deck, 9 through 12 on the rosters now, and so we'll see, but it's alarming to me.
There's a lot of teams struggling fielding a JV team anymore.
I know, and we're not even talking freshmen, JV.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you where you see, that's a topic for winter, but in girls basketball and boys basketball, that's becoming more and more. Teams are having trouble even fielding junior varsity teams. So I don't know. It's not just a football thing. I think it's across the board. And the fact that it's hard, it's really hard mentally and physically. But again, in some places, things are alive and well, and obviously Liberty Center is one of them here.
Also down in MAC country, ecstatic to be adding the MAC to our coverage area this season. We went down on Sunday to the Moeller Brew Barn in Maria Stein. If you've not been there, go see Chelsea and Nick and the crew there and have you a beverage and some food. I struggled for 5 minutes trying to figure out what I was going to have.
I did too, and here's the thing. That is one of those places, what it take us, an hour and 40 minutes to get there?
An hour and 40.
Hour and 40. It's a destination. So I'm not saying you go there after work if you live here in Henry County, you know, on a Tuesday night. But it is a destination where you get up on a Saturday, you get a couple of friends, and you make the trip, and you make an afternoon or an evening out of it, and you go visit that place, because you'll walk in, and I'm just telling you, there's no place like it around these parts. You know, I've been to a few county fairs, and so have you. I've never seen a setup like that in this part of Ohio.
No, it's just out in the middle of a bunch of cornfields, pretty much.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Farms.
Yeah, farms.
And that's kind of what high school football is all about to me.
It is to me, too.
Driving around and seeing the lights on a Friday night out in the middle of nowhere with agriculture surrounding it.
Yeah.
And defines football. And a lot of their kids, not most of them, I should say, a lot of their kids grow up on farms down there.
Well, they do, and what do we smell as soon as we get out of your truck?
Yeah, exactly.
Fresh manure. And yeah, those are the places, Lynn, as you just described, where you don't need a GPS, right? You just drive in that direction, and you see the lights, and you just follow it. And it's like when we were down there Sunday, I felt like I was back in the 1980s. I truly did.
All the people were so friendly. Just a lot of the people didn't know who we are, and understandable. We're making our voyage into the MAC country, and well, who are you guys? Black Swamp Football. All right, they looked at the magazine, wanted to know about us, and just friendly, salt of the earth people.
Yep. And another thing that really stood out to me is, and I know we live in a different era now, and kids choose to go to other schools, and they have every right to do so. That's not my point. My point is, down there, and people can say, I get tired of hearing about the MAC. Well, you know what? Raise your standards then, you know. And so here's what stood out to me. How proud all of those young men were to represent their school. And I know Marion Locals had a stranglehold, and Coldwater has too. But the kids from Fort Recovery in New Bremen, they didn't give any quarter. They're not taking a back seat. They're proud to be Fort Recovery Indians or, you know, New Bremen Cardinals.
Parkway, who's the only school in that whole conference that's never won a state football championship. Yeah. How many conferences can you say 90% of the teams have won a state football championship? And I think they've all won a championship in pretty much every other sport, boys and girls, over the years.
It's unbelievable. It's beyond comparing.
And my wife made the point, we got done, and we don't really pay attention to what's going on around us while we're doing the interviews, but she made the point of the kids sitting at the table together. She said, I did not see one phone out. How often do you see in these parts at a restaurant, even adults, we're guilty of it, you and I.
Darn right.
On our phone. She said, those kids sat there, communicated. I think it was the Fort Recovery kids. She said they were playing Uno together because the Moeller Brew Barn had a back area where you could go and get some games and play, and they went back there and got Uno and played a little Uno card game.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Lynn, and I remember Sarah pointing that out. And we analyze, why is the MAC different? What makes them different? That is such a small thing that is massive, in my opinion. That tells so much of the story, that they're engaged and they have relationships and they're not caught up in technology. You've said it many times. It's hard to find a lot of those MAC players on social media.
They're not on social media.
There you go. And so it's, again, a throwback to, I mentioned the 80s, and that's what it felt like. I mean, no cell phones? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That should be a clue. And again, we're all guilty. I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
and go back to that state semifinal game between Columbus Grove and Marion Local last November. It was about minus 30 wind chill. We're freezing. There's a group of 6, 7, 8 Marion Local kids.
yeah, pregame.
Just sweatshirts, hooded sweatshirt on. You and I are freezing. We're ready to go back and get in the car and turn the heater on. And these Marion Local kids, they're not throwing passes around, throwing 50-yard bombs, like kids like to do. Put the ball not at the 1 yard line, the 1 foot line, and it was a total melee.
Yes, it was.
It was a goal line stand.
Yes, it was.
Just killing each other.
Yes. And it's unbelievable because, and you didn't have parents hovering and,
No.
just the free play, as our friend Scott Barrett likes to talk about. Let kids play.
Yeah.
And you know what? There were probably a couple fat lips and a goose egg, but that's okay.
They ran back there. Oh, look at little Johnny. He's got a black eye. A lot of parents would be like, oh, geez, we got to get you to the emergency room.
Yep. Just another day down there. But yeah, I'll never forget that goal line drill they were doing.
Oh.
So
It defines them.
It just does.
We're looking forward to talking about the MAC this season on our podcast and our Saturday morning Rise and Rewind show as well. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
And all those kids that we interviewed, they talk about pride. Mm-hmm. They're playing for guys that played 30 and 40 years ago. There's a pride factor down there.
There is.
They don't want to let down the community.
Yeah, there is. And when you asked several of those players who were mentors, players you remember, players you looked up to, and almost to a man, they could all name several. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, I don't know who played here when I was younger. They know. And those St. Henry kids, you talk about a group of kids that are hungry to get back to the top of the heap in that conference. There was a time when St. Henry ran things in that league.
Yeah,
and so they see...
You know that well back in your day, end of your high school career, right?
Yeah, and we talked to Rob Hemmelgarn.
Yeah.
Who's the
new AD at Minster, former MAC commissioner, spent a year as the commissioner. Yep. Did a great job. If you want to find a good conference website, go to the MAC website. Holy smokes. You can be on there for hours. I've done it.
Go down a rabbit hole.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it more than once.
Yeah. What a classy guy. And we discovered that he played on that 1992 St. Henry team that beat my Tigers and I that night, and just oozes with class.
Yeah.
Rob and all those coaches.
His son now playing at Minster.
Yep.
Yeah. I know the one thing I have a request for Coach Whirling at St. Henry. He was talking about the tomahawk and the legacy of the guys in the past. I think he sent out a poll to 100 or 150, 200 past players about some greats. And there were 5 guys, the hardest working guys that they felt like have been from St. Henry. And now these kids that are playing now are going to get a tomahawk for once they get to that stage that they can put on their helmet. And then they call that player. Imagine calling Jeff Hardings.
Yeah.
He was one of them. I can't remember the other ones. But Coach Whirling, if you can get me one of those tomahawks stickers, I want to put it up back here.
Yeah. Proudly.
Yeah, right? We got some Eden and Tenora and Southview gear back there. But if you have something for us, coaches or fans, we'll gladly add it to our studio here.
Yeah, and we've got some clothing. Coaches have been so good to us, Lynn, and we've got some clothing that we're going to begin donning next week, some different programs, and And
Coach Becker, I didn't forget about you. We got your shirt. We're going to wear it next week, Monday's podcast. Sonora GMC champs from 2024.
Yeah,
we'll have those on.
Absolutely. They proved anyone who doubted them, they proved them wrong.
Absolutely.
Including yours truly here.
Absolutely. New 12-team playoff this season, Coach, going back from 16 down to 12. Top 4 teams will receive a bye. Higher seeds will host not the first 2 rounds like we've been accustomed to here the last few years, but the first 3 up to the regional semifinal round, which will add to the home field advantage for the higher seeds. Top 4 seeds in each region receive a first-round bye. First-round pairings would include 5 seed hosting the 12. The 6 will be at the 10. 10 is at the, or I'm sorry, what did I say? 11 is at the 6. 10 is at the 7. 9 is at the 8. And then there was some confusion when the OHSA first put this out. They had the 1 seed playing the 5-12 winner. That is not true.
Okay.
They have adjusted that. I went on the OHSA website and I looked at that. And Randy Roberts, I was on a Saturday morning show with him and Miles Holliday, and they went and looked, and it has been changed. Okay. I know there was a lot of people that were confused why the 1 would play the 5-12 instead of the 8-9 matchup there in that second round. So the 1 will get that 8-9 winner. The 2 seed would get the 7-10 winner. The 3 seed will get the 6-11 winner, and then the 4 seed would get the 5-12 winner. And then we'll go on out to the regional championship. Will be at a neutral site, which will probably help a little bit because I know the OHSA has kind of struggled here the last few years of finding host sites, neutral sites for some of these games. Sure.
Do you like the hosting the first 3 rounds?
I do. I do. I think that gives some money back to the higher seeds, gives them an opportunity to prosper a little bit revenue-wise in that aspect of things. I'm not sure about the bye, how that's going to work for the top 4 seeds. I know there's some coaches that really do not want the bye. They're worried about their kids being rusty, being off a week, how are they going to respond. I think a lot of people are scared because of how the college football playoff went a year ago, because the teams that had a bye didn't survive very long. Now, was that just an outlier, or is that going to become custom each year? I don't know. We'll find out. But I think coaches will, after a couple years, like having that bye to get healthy, because you always have bumps and bruises going into week 11, it seems like.
You do, and so we had a bye during the COVID year, Lynn, and I don't think it's as big a deal as some of these coaches think it might be. In my own personal opinion, as you said though, from the bumps and bruises and things like that, and I don't think it's going to impact them the way some might fear it will. I think it's a good thing. I don't know if 12's the magic number. I was all for expansion because of my personal relationship to the playoff system when I was at Napoleon. I've told you many times we had a lot of really good 6-4 teams, and our losses were like Perrysburg, Anthony Wayne, and I'm thinking if we could get in the tournament, we could beat about 4 or 5 of those teams, but we couldn't get in. So I was all for expansion. And then they go to 16.
16 was too much.
16's too much, because I know this doesn't matter to a lot of people, but it kind of does to me. When you know, it used to be you would post playoff appearances. Right now that's kind of null and void to me. I like what Andy Brungard or Dirk Connor, which one said, they don't recognize playoff appearances anymore. They recognize playoff wins. Mm-hmm. And it watered it down. It just did. But at the same time, Napoleon is a classic example of why expansion needed to happen. They knock off 2 higher seeds last year. Napoleon wouldn't even have been in the tournament, and they go to Lorraine Clearview and just take them out behind the woodshed. And so that's why I've always been a fan. If we're going to stay with the Harbin system, we've got to have a level 3 strength of schedule factor in there to get the right teams. And even at 12 teams, there's no guarantee it's going to be the right 12. And so we'll see. It's a step forward, though.
Is there a way to get the right 12? Is that a strength of schedule? Does that add to it?
I think it's a strength of schedule, and then one of the things I'm sure you've heard too is you throw all the names, all the playoff points. You rate them. You don't even have them broken down into regions, is what I'm trying to say. And then so you get a team that maybe in the past when it was 8 teams, they were 10th in this region and would have been 5th in this region, something like that. So you seed them and divide up the regions after the season. And I know that'd make for some wonky travel and things like that, but the travel is already screwy with some of these matchups. So I think there needs to be a level 3, just because I don't know if I explain it well enough, but if I'm coaching a team that isn't very good, we can still beat some teams that are even worse. And so I don't like that. I think there needs to be a level 3. And we talked to Tim Street about that a little bit, and he feels good about level 1 points, level 2 points. But I think who you beat, who they beat, should matter. And it doesn't.
Yeah, see how the 12 team goes. I think there's a lot of unknowns at this point, especially with the coaches and creatures of habit. They don't like that week off. If you're a top 4 seed, what are you going to do that week?
Yeah.
Do you practice? How hard do you practice?
I know.
What do you do?
I know. I think those teams that are going to have a bye, though, I guess I hate to keep defaulting to Liberty Center, but I'm going to default to Liberty Center. If they have a bye, do you think Garrison Cruz isn't going to be hungry the next week?
Do you think he's going to forget how to play football?
They're going to be like starving animals. They're going to be more hungry,
They should be.
And so I think it'll end up paying dividends. And it's a nice reward for those teams that earn the bye.
Yeah. Let's take a break, come back, and get into our conference breakdowns.
Have been the heart of the Gherkin companies for generations. Together we construct the highways and infrastructure that strengthen our communities. Gherkin is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
I would encourage you to apply to the Gherkin companies too if you're looking for a job out there, especially maybe a high school student that just graduated. You want a good job to get into right after school, and even if you're in college, I'm sure they can find something for you part-time.
Yeah, and they've got an unbelievable internship program, and a lot of those interns end up being full-time employees. We know they take care of their workers financially. They pay them more than fair wage, but it's not just being on a road crew, working on blacktop. I mean, they've got, good Lord, they've got plants all over, and unbelievable, and they've stood the test of time.
Right. And I still don't know what Robbie Myers does.
I don't know that the upper management at Gherkins knows what Robbie Myers.
Out of the bag there.
We might have. Now, he might be on the radar now.
Could be.
Is Robbie a guy that drives around in a truck all day?
I think so.
I wonder what his actual role is. Think he'd explain it to us?
I think he probably could.
It's probably something like, project manager or something.
Yeah. Just a title
Yeah.
they give him to drive around.
Well, as I'm driving, I've driven to Fort Wayne 30 times this summer on 24. I never saw Robbie out there with a road crew.
I haven't either. That's a good point. That's a good point. I know Mandy Gherkin, she runs a lot there at the Gherkin companies.
Yeah, she probably does some actual work. But, yeah, I've never seen Rob on the road crew. You know what I mean?
It'd be good for him to maybe get on that road crew.
I think it would. See if he
Get
can
him into shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Get him prepared for track season at Liberty Center, right?
We're going to find out. We may have to get him on here to explain his
We had him on here earlier in our kickoff show about 3 weeks ago, but he didn't say much.
He's a man of few words, that's for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of the Gherkin companies, rock solid performance coming back. We'll be handing that out starting week number 2 from week 1. We'll find our rock solid performer from week 1, and I don't know what the Gherkin companies have in store as far as goodies for the players this season. A year ago, they had, I think, wristbands.
Those are always a hot item. I'm sure they'll come up with something.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Mandy will take care of that. put Rob on the job, because I'll ride with Rob on a Thursday night to whoever the winner was from the previous week and get them their goodie bags.
I love it.
It's gonna be fun.
I love it.
We should have some good rock solid performer chances next week. In week 1, we will be at Defiance as Napoleon plays the Bulldogs to open up the season, and then Friday night we'll be at Walpock as Derek Pennington and Clay will head down to Walpock to play the prohibitive WBL favorite again.
So not only is Coach Pennington inheriting a Clay football team that is moving to the Buckeye division of the NLL,
Yes.
he gets to open his season at Wapakoneta.
I wonder if he's thanking his AD for that.
I'm telling you, he was not done any favors. I'm going to tell you right now.
Or maybe Coach Gallius scheduled that game.
He might have, maybe a departing gift,
Jeez.
a parting gift. But we're going to find out what Clay's made of right out of the chute. And I'm super excited to see how Coach Steve Rittenauer, how his tenure commences there at Defiance. He'll be wound up before that game, won't he?
He's already wound up for that one. He's already ready for.
Can you imagine how raspy his voice will be the week of that game?
Yeah.
He won't be able to talk. He's a good guy. I'm tickled to death for him.
Yeah. Him and Shane Brugler, they'll be revved up a little bit.
They will. Going to be interesting. We'll get into it when we get into our WBL preview. But boy, you want to talk about a team that was hit hard by graduation, and
no doubt about it. No doubt. Going through over the conference we cover, Coach, I found a common theme. Majority have been dominated by one team, at least the last 2 years, that has won the conference at least the last 2 years. NWC, Columbus Grove. NWOAL, Liberty Center, hasn't lost since 2021 when they got blown out by Archbold, then avenged that one in the playoffs at Defiance. GMC, Tenora, shared it a couple years ago. WBL, Walpock, has won every one of them going back to 2018. Now, 2020, they didn't have a WBL champion because of COVID, and they only played 6 regular season games, and you can't really hand out a championship when not everybody is playing everybody. How about the TAAC, Ottawa Hills, of course. NBC, who was dominated. Oak Harbor. Last 2 years, undefeated. And actually, every NBC champion has went undefeated. They have never had a team lose a game that's been a champion.
That is an unbelievable stat.
We'll see if that changes this season.
I think it will.
You think it will?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
I don't think the champ of that conference will be without a blemish.
NBC coming up later on in our show. The MAC. Not too hard to figure that one out. Marion Local has dominated that one. A nation leading 64 straight wins. They have not lost since 2020, and that was a playoff game that season. COVID year, which seems like 20 years ago. That's the last time they lost one game. It's been even longer since they lost a regular season game. BVC, Liberty Benton, has dominated. NLL Buckeye, Anthony Wayne. NLL Cardinal has been a little bit different now. They've only had 2 years. Clay a year ago. They are moving, as you said a little bit ago, to the Buckeye division. Northern 8, dominated by Toledo Christian. Now they are back to the 11-man game, is Coach Skeels and his crew. And then the Catholic High School League that St. John's, Central Catholic, and St. Francis play in, that's been a little bit more of a level playing field. Central did not win it a year ago. Detroit Catholic Central got it a year ago. But that is all but 3 have been multi-year winners. Repeater.
I think along those same lines. I was thinking earlier today, looking at our leagues, the email you sent me, and I see 3 leagues that have a prohibitive favorite that is, just a super heavy favorite that I think everybody in Northwest Ohio would be shocked if those 3 teams didn't win their league. And actually, I should add a 4th because now we have a new kind of coverage, a new team in our coverage area.
NWOAL, WBL.
Yep.
MAC, of course.
Yep.
And BVC.
Liberty Benton.
Yeah,
Those,
I would agree with you.
I think they are the most prohibitive favorites on our list.
Yeah.
And
It'd be pretty shocking if somebody else won those conferences.
I mean, am I right? Yeah, I think so.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Going to start in the Northwest Conference. Columbus Grove 14-1, 7-0 a year ago. Won the last 2 NWC titles. They've won actually 19 straight conference games since that 7-0 loss to Allen East in 2022. No Trenton Barraza, Kylan May, some other linemen that Columbus Grove lost from that outstanding team a year ago. Another regional championship for Andy Schaefer's crew. Bluffton 13-2, 6-1 in the NWC. Grove has had their number here the last several years, and maybe a mental hurdle for Coach Richards and the Pirates as they try to overcome what Grove has done. LCC, new coach, Colin Stalley there this season. Fort Loramie, always tough. 6-6 a year ago overall, 4-3 in the conference. Spencerville was 5-6, 2-5 in the conference. Allen East 4-6, 2-5 in the league. Crestview 4-6, 2-5 in the NWC, and then Delphus Jefferson 1-9 and 0-7 in the Northwest Conference last season. I'm going to ask you this first because we like to have a little fun on our podcast.
Yes, we do.
Have ever answered this question? Throw all the NWC coaches into a room, no holds barred. Who do you have coming out? Now, some of these teams we're maybe not as familiar with as others.
Listen.
We're going to do this for a lot of the conferences here today.
I'm a big fan of this, and if you're a pacifist, if you're a follower of ours and you're a pacifist, we apologize in advance. Go ahead and fast forward through this section, but I think these are important things, and I think people want to know. Northwest Conference, I know who I'm taking, but I'm telling you, he'd have a challenger. So, Battle Royale, no holds barred, locked in a room, only one man comes out. I'm going to tell you right now who that's going to be. It's going to be Andy Schaefer from Columbus Grove. And it isn't going to be particularly close, okay? Now, there may be a couple of these schools we don't know as well. They may have some. Andy Schaefer, because of his tenacity.
Well, Joel Billings at Allen East could hold his own, I think, in this.
Okay.
But he's not my pick. It's Schaefer.
Okay.
Now, I know he's got a little bit of years on him, but I think I don't know if it was a long fight.
Okay.
I'd worry about his conditioning, but I think he could just go in there and
ground and pound.
Yeah, it wouldn't take him long.
But I'm going to tell you this: Jeff Richards
could be a problem.
If Jeff Richards got his meat hooks on Schaefer and got him on the ground, Coach Richards is a pretty stout fella.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's got that pirate mentality. If he got his meat hooks into Coach Schaefer, I don't know. It's anybody's fight, but my money's on Andy Schaefer.
Yeah, mine too. I would agree with that. On the football field, is Grove going to do it again?
It is always uber difficult for me to
Landon Bass back at quarterback, got hurt in week 3 a year ago against Patrick Henry. He's a star.
Younger Barraza, Baxter. They've got some questions on the line. Oh, Brady Baysinger, he's a bad dude. And then they've got a couple of diamonds in the rough. A couple of younger guys that we saw on some mop-up duty last year that are going to be really good. Like if you're going to a battle, okay, and you can take Baxter and Brady Baysinger with you, you'd feel pretty good, wouldn't you? I mean, so it's hard for me to pick against a defending champion when they return a nucleus, like you said. Now, Trenton Barraza, Kylan Mays are gone, amongst others. They've got a heck of a nucleus, but can they do it again? I can't get out of my head. We covered the Grove Bluffton game last year, and on paper, it was supposed to be a heavyweight fight. And Columbus Grove absolutely dismantled Bluffton.
It was over in the first 2 minutes.
Was over clearly. In Bluffton, no mas, right?
Yeah.
No more. And then we know Bluffton was legit, though, because they stymied.
They sanded Patrick
Henry.
Yes.
Right? I mean, an outstanding Patrick Henry team. Bluffton put the clamps on them. Mm-hmm. And so that tells me Columbus Grove owns Bluffton mentally. But I've got to play the percentages here. If Bluffton's ever going to get it, Bluffton's got a good team. They've got some good guys back. I think the running game's going to be tougher than heck.
He's back at quarterback,
yep.
Level kid at running back.
Yep. Am I releasing it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Northwest Conference 2025. The Bluffton Pirates finally get the monkey off their back and win the Northwest Conference.
This is the year that Jeff Richards and crew raises the Jolly Roger.
I think it's got to be.
How many straight years have you picked Bluffton, though? Have you not learned? How many years have you been with Black Swamp Football? Is this 3 or 4?
This is my 4th.
Have you picked Bluffton every year?
I would say this is at least the 2nd, maybe the 3rd.
I know you picked Bluffton a year ago.
Okay.
I know you did.
Yeah, I've got to go with the Pirate. Now, LCC's got some dudes. The coaching change, I think, is going to make a difference. Scott Pulte was a seasoned veteran, you know. Crestview Crestvew's got some guys. I don't know if they have enough of them, but they've got a nice young running back, and you mentioned Fort Loramie. They're always tough. Yep, always tough. And Allen East has tradition there. But I'm a Columbus Grove Bulldog backer. I love the style of football they play. Give me the Bluffton Pirates to finally get over the hump.
You know we're going to Clymer Stadium week number 2 when Liberty Benton comes to town.
That's right.
You may need security from the Columbus Grove Police Department.
Well,
are you going to get into the press box at Clymer Stadium? We may have to get there about 3 o'clock before the crowd gets there. Well, they could be waiting.
We might have to get there before school lets out. The question is, will Sparty, Dylan Blankmeyer, will he receive me warmly, or might he give me the cold shoulder? He's not going to be happy about this pick. I'm just telling you. He's not going to be happy about it.
Wow. I thought you were in the good graces of the Columbus Grove fans, and man, you went right back into the dumpster with them.
Can I ever, if let's say Grove ends up winning the Northwest Conference this year, is there any way I can get back in the good graces of the Columbus Grove faithful, or am I done?
I don't know. I know you have a pirate hat.
Hey, I've got, Ryan Elker, so you have Jeff Richards, Ryan Elker, a great former Bluffton College Beaver, Denny Phillips, a former coach. I know you're pulled in a lot of directions. I am, I have a lot of allegiances.
We get a lot of gear from different folks.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm going to ride with the Pirates. I am on the pirate ship. I've got the eye patch ready. And if they don't back me this year, I will never.
I thought you said that before, though. I thought you said that before they played a year ago, that you would never get back on the pirate ship.
This is for real the last time.
This is it.
This is the last time. And I will tell you right now, I will personally call and scold Jeff Richards if they stumble again in week number 10.
It was 42 zip.
It wasn't even that close.
No, it could have been 142 zip if Grove wanted to. That game was over, like I said, at the 10-minute mark of the first quarter.
Yes, it was.
It was 21-0 before we even blinked.
Yes, it was. That game. Wait a minute. Was that game at?
It was at Bluffton too.
That's what I thought. I was thinking. Can I recant my pick?
Nope.
So they've got to go into Clymer Stadium week 10.
And I don't know the last time I think the last time they lost at Clymer Stadium, Grove, was the Liberty Center playoff game in 2020? 2020, yeah, it had to be 2020.
I mean, Grove has a deed to Bluffton's program. They own it. Can Bluffton go in there week 10?
No.
And get it done?
No. Grove repeats. Repeat.
Wow.
Hey, we got a broadcast there week 2. We got to be able to get in the stadium. I gotta hedge my bets here a little bit. I want to be able to at least get into Columbus Grove's city limits that night.
I do agree. But I've got to ride with the Pirates.
Watch out for LCC.
Oh, I agree.
They have some advantages that other schools don't. See what Coach Stolley can do with the T-Birds this season.
Yeah, and he's Stolley's an LCC name.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Right, so there's some pride in that, and and we'll move on here, but Delphus Jefferson, there was a time when Delphus Jefferson was a big bad bully.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to see if they can eventually get the corner turn. Their numbers, I think, have been really bad. We saw them 2 years ago at Antwerp, I think, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they had some quality dudes. I mean, they had some quality guys. They just didn't have very many of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Let's move it to the Green Meadows Conference. Sonora, the champion a season ago, at 7-0, tied with Antwerp and Ayersville in 2023 for that title. So the Rams have been on top the last couple years. Fairview had them down in that regular season game a year ago, kind of had them on the ropes, and Tenora stormed back and won. Tenora went 9-3. Or Fairview went 9-3, 6-1 a season ago. Paulding 7-4, 4-3. Jim Menzies got a lot back. The Mans boys, quarterback Hunt is back. They lose Jack Woods, who was an absolute menace on each side of the ball for them. We saw him in action. Edgerton 6-5, 4-3. Wayne Trace 4-6, 4-3. Antwerp 3-7, 1-6. Hicksville 2-8, 1-6, and then Ayersville was 1-9 and 1-6. To me, the GMC race is a 3-team race.
Yeah,
three teams.
I was just adding them up in my head, and let's see if I pick the same three you were thinking. Tenora, Fairview, and Paulding.
Yeah, same as a year ago.
So you had Paulding in there too.
Yeah. Now, can Edgerton throw their hat in there? They may be able to.
Edgerton,
Schlegel and crew.
Edgerton is going to be in the top half. Edgerton is going to be physical enough.
Well, they beat Paulding a year ago.
Darn right.
Remember that?
You're darn right.
I think they put up like 38 on that Paulding defense, which was pretty good.
I agree, and this isn't one of the conferences, in my opinion, where there's a prohibitive favorite. I know a lot of people have been pointing to this season for Fairview.
Yeah. Well, there's one key to me. Whoever is going to come out on top in the GMC this season and raise that trophy at the end of the season, one key. Who is best in the trenches? Because all three of those teams lost some big-time dudes up front. Whoever can figure out their line play is going to win the GMC this season.
Yeah, they are. And the quarterback, we know it helps to have a good trigger man, right? The quarterback that I really, really like in this league is Owen Farrell at Tenora.
Yeah.
We saw him at Paulding last year, my first time seeing him, because he had Dominic Graziani, who was the quarterback, and they moved him, and Farrell, his mechanics, his escapability, he's kind of got that moxie. I assume he's a good leader in the huddle. I'm a big Owen Farrell fan. Look forward to seeing what he does this year.
All three of those schools that we talked about at the top. Well, really good quarterbacks.
Fairview's, how many, he started since he was a freshman, right?
Yeah, William Zedike.
I mean, Will Zedike.
Yeah.
And when he was a freshman, they were down a little bit as a program, coming off the great Doug Rakes years. Will Zedike, we saw him, I think it was against Lipsick at Fairview? I can't remember.
Sounds right.
Zedike was a freshman, and I knew he was going to be a good one, and he is.
Well, you throw Maddox Baker in there from Edgerton, too. They got a good quarterback as well.
Yep.
Now, Edgerton, I feel like, is maybe going to pick off one of those three. They got Paulding a year ago. Do they have enough to get a Fairview or Tenora?
I don't know, but I will tell you this.
Are they going to be consistent enough?
I don't know. But
can they hold up in the trenches?
Can they hold up?
Types of teams.
I think I'm confident saying this about Edgerton. And Brody Flegel, he's a real classy guy, right? Almost soft-spoken when we interview him and that.
Yep.
You can tell he's got a fire in his belly, okay? He's from Edgerton. He's bleeds maroon and gold. I think of all these teams in this league, Edgerton, for some reason in my mind, is going to carry the biggest chip on their shoulder because no one's really talking about them, right?
Yeah, and it may come to if they can avoid any injuries.
Yeah.
Their depth, I know, is a concern, like a lot of Division 7 programs, but, they beat Paulding 38-26. It was 42-28 against Fairview. Tenora had a kind of an upper hand in that matchup a year ago, 24-0. But can Edgerton somehow pick somebody off there at the top? I think they can. I think they have the capability.
Can they do it week in, week out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
So this league is interesting to me, and I've been thinking here since the show started. The GMC's kind of been on my mind. That's a tough pick, but I think I know who I'm rolling with. I'll tell you what. You talked about the Mans brothers at Paulding. Anyone that's a football fan in this area, is it Jalen and Jordan? What are their names? They're
Jalen and Jordan.
Jalen and Jordan Mans.
Well, you throw Blake Roanhouse in there too.
Oh, he's a stud. He's a stud. The Mans brothers at Paulding, pound for pound in Northwest Ohio, they could play for anybody. And I'm talking divisions 1 through 7. The Mans brothers from Paulding are the real deal. So if you can catch them, even on film, on highlights, check them out.
Yeah. Colt Hunt threw for 2,224 yards and 26 touchdowns last season. Blake Roanhouse, 903 yards, 12 TDs, 59 catches. Jalen Mans had 338 yards on 27, and Jordan Mans, 48 grabs, 511 yards, 8 TDs. Does Colt throw for 3,000 this year?
See,
if Coach Menzie turns him loose and lets him throw it, does he throw for 3,000?
Well, he might, because half the battle is when you have guys like the Mans brothers, just get it to them and let them run, you know? The yards after the catch, you see some of these quarterbacks.
You can throw them a little shovel pass, and that's a
forward pass.
You get some yards there, buddy.
And you throw a slip screen to Mans, and then he takes it 50 yards plus. I mean,
yeah, you don't have to throw the ball 50 yards downfield to get some yardage with those guys.
No, you don't. So Paulding's Jim Menzie's done a fantastic job of resurrecting that program. So, and I enjoyed. They lost an absolute heartbreaker at home to Sonora last year.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what Paulding does for an encore. And at our Black Swamp Combine at Napoleon, they had some good-looking kids there. The Paulding Panthers did.
Yeah. You talked about Will Zedike. He's going to have a big year. And Doug Rakes' offense. He really understands Coach Rakes' philosophy now. Gavin Mead back. Logan Olinger. There's some good quarterbacks and receivers in the GMC.
There is. And you know where I kind of give Fairview an advantage, aside from Will Zedike and some of those skill guys? Their just physicality, their toughness. I think Fairview is hungry. Not that these others aren't, but I just think Fairview hits just a little bit harder. They just seem to go a little bit harder. GMC is going to be fun to watch this year.
They get Tenora coming to the reservation week 5. We're going to have that game on our Gamecast presented by Ace Hardware and the Sports Place in Wasion.
That's a new sponsor
for us this year. Thank you to Jason Four and Rick Stidham have stepped up in sponsoring our Gamecast this season. They've been great to us. Looking forward to that.
I know it's the Sports Place at Wasion Ace. Have you ever, been in the Wasion Ace Hardware?
I've been in all of it, buddy.
It's not like your typical hardware store.
It's not, yeah.
It's like a mall.
Yeah.
They have everything.
Yes.
I mean, you could go school shopping there, literally. It's unbelievable. So, hats off to those guys.
If you need some shirts, banners, I think they can do mugs, cups.
Yep.
They can do anything you want back there in the Sports Palace.
Yeah, and
they got a new printer. I was over there the other day, and Jason showed me that. It's top of the line. It's like the best you can have, and they got it.
Yeah, and people have free will to choose what they wish. But if you're a supporter of ours, and we've got so many loyal supporters, boy, if you could support the sponsors that support us, man, it's just a win for everybody all around. So the Sports Place at Wasion Ace, I thank them.
Yeah, thank you to those guys. Looking forward to partner with them this season.
It's awesome.
Yeah, they've been very good to us. Can't wait.
It's great.
If you want to know our broadcast schedule, we got some of it out. Week 2, as I said, Liberty Benton at Columbus Grove. Week 3 at Seagull Liberty Center. Week 4, we don't have a game. Week 5 is Tenora at Fairview. We have Patrick Henry Liberty Center. I'm trying to remember which week that is, but that's going to be one of them as well this season.
Your recollection's pretty good. I saw you posted that.
Yeah, it's on our social media pages. If not, stay tuned to our podcast. We'll get those out as the season progresses.
I give you a tip of the cap, Lynn, because I like how you left a few of those weeks open, best game available. I personally don't like to be locked into a matchup that maybe in the preseason appeared to be a marquee matchup. Yeah. And then next thing you know, one's, 3-5 and the other one's 4-4, and you're going, God, there's a matchup down here, 7-1, 8-0. So good job on that, buddy.
Safe to say Fairview Tenora is going to be a good one. Patrick Henry Liberty Center will be a good one for us this season.
Yeah.
And also, stay tuned. We're going to get a kind of a, what do you want to call it, a team store for Black Swamp gear. A lot of times I'm out in public and can I get a hat or can I get a shirt? Well, the Ace Hardware Sports Palace crew are working on a team store for us. And if there's something that you want that you don't see in there, just call them, send them an email. They can get you what you want. They have our logo. They can put it on anything for you.
I would love to walk into a stadium for one of our game casts and see some Black Swamp gear.
I would too.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be nice. Yeah, go over there and see the crew at the sports
team store. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. Can't wait to check that out.
You need. We got to give our GMC picks here, Coach.
I'm telling you, pound for pound, this is one of the toughest for me to pick. I have it down between, in this, try to narrow it down, right?
Well, you can't have two.
I know. I have trouble leaving Paulding out of the mix. I have a lot of trouble because we saw them, boy, they had Tenora on the ropes, but they don't have Jack Wood this year. It's hard for me to pick against the Tenora Rams. I got burnt last year, but they're a different team this year. So I think Doug Rakes and his Apaches are hungry and ready to take that next step, but I can't do it. I can't pick against the Tenora Rams.
Okay.
Anytime I've gotten burnt. I thought last year was the year that they relent, and they didn't. All they did was become one of the hottest teams in Northwest Ohio. Give me Coach Eric Becker, quarterback Owen Farrell, and the Tenora Rams to win the Green Meadows Conference.
Give me Doug Rakes, Will Zedike. Taking the Apaches. They got the Rams coming there.
Yeah.
They're going to be hungry for some retribution from a year ago. I like Fairview.
Okay. And
if they can figure out the trenches, they lost a lot up there.
Yeah, they did. And I'll tell you what I worry about with Tenora is that non-league schedule, man. They got to be healthy. Mm-hmm. They've got to be healthy. And if they can come out of that gauntlet, I don't even care what the record is. They came out 0-3 last year and rattled off 7 straight to finish 7-3 in the regular season. So they've got to come out healthy because week one, that's going to be so physical. And the kids know that. They know that.
Yeah, Liberty Center in that matchup. Then they got Otsego and then Archbold.
You think Tenora's not going to be hungry for that week 3 matchup?
Yeah, we'll talk about that one in our week 3 podcast and the controversy from a year ago in that matchup. How about a battle royal in the GMC? I know we covered this one a couple years ago. Have you changed your mind? I don't think there's been any coaching changes since the last time we've picked this. Maybe Justin Davis over at Hicksville, I guess. Can Justin?
He's a young, fit guy.
Yeah.
For me, our pick, I think it was unanimous. It was Andrew Mickey, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not sure I necessarily want to tangle with Eric Becker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, if it becomes if it becomes 6-7 rounds, he's going to get gassed. Coach Becker, we love you, but let's be honest, you're not built for the long haul anymore. Okay.
Well, he is a lineman.
He is a lineman. Ground and pound, though. If Becker gets a hold of you, he's going to do some damage. The sleeper for me would be Brody Flegel.
You think Brody?
I'm telling you, don't be fooled by his junkyard dog when the lights are off. I'm just telling you. But Andrew Mickey still, I know people go, oh, look at Jason Hale, the big guy at Antwerp there. You know what? Mickey would climb up on top and just pound away.
I agree. Mick is my man there in the TMC for a battle royal.
But Coach Becker, you could hold your own, buddy.
We're going to move it to the NWOAL. Liberty Center, another league championship. They've won 26 consecutive league games dating back to that 41-7 loss at Archbold all the way back in week 5 of 2021. I was there, and boy, that game was over quick, and Liberty got some revenge in the playoffs at Defiance that season and knocked off Archbold. Carly Roth with the game-winning field goal to seal that one for the Tigers.
You know what's funny, Lynn? It's so interesting that you just mentioned that. So I walk into Chief Supermarket this morning before I went down to Bluffton University, and Roger and Corrine Carpenter are standing there. Roger just turned 82, an old LC Tiger. And they're talking to this lady. I had never met her, and so Roger introduces me to her, and she looks at me and she says, "I'm Carly Roth's mom."
Oh, wow.
And Roger goes, "The girl that kicked the field goal to beat Archbold." And you just happened to mention that.
Yeah, huh.
And so it was pretty cool, actually. But, I remember that. What a moment that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tigers just a few yards away from a state championship again a year ago. They got that fumble against Ironton and then fumbled it back, and Sean Terry, Scary Terry and crew sealed it with a jet sweep, sealed it for them to win that one. But the Tigers have been there. They have decimated league competition during this run atop the standings, outscoring their league opponents 979 to 96 from 2022 to last year. They have had a reign atop. League adversaries mustered 22 points on them a year ago. 22
total.
The whole season. Yes.
And how many
Patrick
of those
Henry,
did PH?
15.
Okay.
That was 15 of the 22. Delta was the only other league team to score any points. The Tigers have outscored their foes 2,180 to 540 since the 2021 loss to Archbold. And they've been special.
And what makes it even more so is there's schools in the league that are bigger than them, okay? And so there's that. It's not like they're the big bad bully size-wise, okay? And then they've had the target. They've won the bullseye. So that means everybody's gunning for you. And so it's sometimes harder to stay on top of the mountain, than it is to get there. And they're playing King of the Hill, and I don't know that anybody's going to knock them off.
Taking the best of the best to beat them. 2021, it was Cary who went on to win state. 2022 was that South Range?
Yes.
In the state semis at Clyde,
right?
You
were there, yeah.
2023, obviously, they got to the state championship, lost to that Braden Richards Perry-led team. They had some other Jaden Studio, who was dinged up a little bit, played some defense that afternoon in Canton, and then a year ago, obviously, they fell to the Sean Terry-led Ironton team.
So you look at what Liberty Center's done. They've got one state championship, and my point lends itself to how hard it is to win a state title. Liberty Center has won, to their credit. And if you look back over, we'll just keep it fairly modern, but let's go back. I want to go back to Scott Barrett and Jeff Jurasik and those guys in the late 80s. Liberty Center had football teams that could have won anywhere between 5 to 10 state championships.
88 team lost to that Archbold team.
Yeah, that was
one state in the muck over at Old Spangler Field in Archbold. 92, your senior year, fell to St. Henry. Now that was going to be a little tougher chore to climb the St. Henry Mountain that season.
They were formidable.
93. Overtime. Steubenville Catholic Central, 17-14, right?
Mm-hmm.
96, lost to Patrick Henry. Kind of I think it was a Chris Gherkin third quarter, early fourth quarter. That was kind of a defensive slugfest. 97 won it all.
Yep.
98, that wasn't a good state final for Liberty Center. Ran into Versailles and You can go on. I went down a rabbit hole here the last few weeks. LC Tiger Sports Live has posted all these games going back to 80s. Watch that St. Henry game that you played in, the 98 versus Sales team. Wow. I don't think Liberty got 3 first downs that whole game, and they had some special linemen.
Yes.
Chris Box,
Yeah.
Todd Spangler.
Yep.
Forgetting some guys here. They had Jesse Smith, who was a senior, and Versailles had a guy that was just as fast as Jesse Smith, and Jesse was maybe the most athletic guy from this area ever.
Yep.
I mean, they had some guys, and Versailles laid it on them. 99, they got pretty close. State semis, right? Was that the Bedford Chanel or St. Henry year? 2000, Troy Westover, he had 50 carries in that game.
I was there.
They got him to fumble close to the goal line, or they would have. I can't remember if it was 99 or 2000.
I think that was at Tiffin's Frost Callanow Stadium. But I believe.
I mean, you think about 88, 93, 97, 98, 99, 2000, and then the last 2 years, it's 8.
Yeah.
I know Rex has said, with some luck, we could have won 3 or 4 there in the 80s and 90s.
There's absolutely no question.
You have to have some luck. You always do.
Well, you always do, and then
97, they shouldn't even gotten the playoffs.
No, correct.
If they would have played Ottawa Hills.
Yeah, and you look at back in 80, 87, 88 with the 87 team was really good, and then the 88 team would have been Barrett and Jurasic senior year. If you had 7 divisions, back then there was only 4, and 4 teams made it, right?
Yeah.
If you had...
Might have been 5. I think there was 5 at that time. There would have been 5 divisions.
When Barrett and those guys played, I, for some reason, have 4 in my mind.
It was 5.
Okay, I thought when I played there was 4.
Nah, it was 5.
Okay.
Because Ayersville was 5 in 86 when they lost to
Okay.
Catholic.
Okay,
Yes.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
And so if you have 7 divisions, and because those 87, 88 Liberty teams didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, you put them in D6.
You put them in D6 and in an expanded field. I'm telling you, those two teams.
Well, yeah, they were the only team that gave Archbold even a competitive game that season.
Yep. 87, Archbold beat them beat Liberty at Liberty, and a guy named Doug Lou caught a game-winning touchdown pass down here in the east end zone, and that Archbold team was unreal. Doug Lou was unreal. But
that was an Archbold team that lost to O.J. McDuffie at Baldwin Wallace.
Yes, Gates Mills Hawken. I listened to that entire game.
Gates Mills had about 22 kids, but they had O.J. McDuffie.
Yeah, they did. I listened to that game in Ray Carpenter's living room.
Did you?
In Liberty Center on the corner of East Street and Cherry Street. O.J. McDuffie.
Yeah. I think there's a picture of Mo Rodriguez or Joe and O.J. McDuffie just hurtling over him. Kind of like Sean Terry did a year ago in the state championship. It was kind of like that, but boy.
Yeah. Penn State, right? And then the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins, yeah. Can anybody challenge Liberty Center this season in the NWOAL, Coach?
There's only one team that will be able to...
Let me ask you this one.
Yep.
How many games will Liberty have they don't have a running clock? Will they have any non-running clock games this season? Tenora?
I think
opens it up.
I think that'll be a running clock.
Okay.
I just picked Tenor to win the GMC. Now Coach Becker wants to slap me.
Then you have Eastwood at home. You have Otsego here, at Swanton, home with Bryan, home with Patrick Henry, at Evergreen, home with Delta, home with Wauseon, and at Archbold.
Okay, they're not going to running clock everyone.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. They could. I think they're so...
I think they can running clock Patrick Henry, who has a phenomenal line.
Yeah.
We'll get into Patrick Henry here in a second.
I think the biggest hurdle for Patrick Henry entering that game this year, and I know there's going to be some things that have to happen before that because it's the midway point, right?
Yeah, week 5 or 6.
Okay.
Week 6.
Week 6. So there's some business to take care of. But the biggest hurdle, I think, for Patrick Henry in this one, because it'll be over here at Kip Kern Field, Rex Lingard Stadium, is going to be the mental hurdle. Now, Grant Smith, Trent Johnson, Akevian Kreider, they're going to show up. They're going to be ready to roll. The other kids, the holes they have to fill from last year, will those kids be in awe? And the first time they get smacked by LC, how will they respond? Remember 2 years ago we were over here, and Nash Meyer had just gotten hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was Lincoln Krieger's first start.
Oh.
And that was still a really good Patrick Henry team, right? And Liberty Center absolutely smoked them. And so if Patrick Henry can get off to a good start and build some confidence, I think they can hang in there. But because of what Patrick Henry has in the trenches, and I think they're the only team in the NWOAL that has a chance to possibly hang in there with Liberty Center.
They got some guys returning from injury, Ethan Gray and Baxter Barrett.
Yeah, Baxter.
Who they didn't have for much of the season a year ago. Those two guys are going to contribute.
Yep.
Watch the name Tyler Roars.
Yep.
You got Max Walker.
He's an animal.
Hunter Spangler up front.
Not even mentioning the kid with the Ohio State offer yet,
Yeah,
right?
I haven't mentioned Kellen Weimer, who's got Ohio State after him, and probably everybody else here in the next few months.
Garrison Cruz.
Yeah.
Imagine a Garrison Cruz Grant Smith collision.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
well, Garrison Cruz, and maybe he won't get enough carries due to their running clock situation.
Yeah.
But does he run for 2,000 yards? You lose Waylon Rentz, who absolutely terrorized defenses a year ago. You're thinking, they lose Waylon Rentz, co-offensive player in the league. And they got Gary Cruz coming back, Thomas Muller. The Roars kid's going to get some carries.
Yeah.
I mean, Garrison Cruz, if he got enough carries in competitive games and them playing, they're going to play at least 14. That's a conservative number.
Yeah.
I think they'll play 15 or 16.
yeah.
I think he could run for 2,500 if he was the featured back.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the running clocks.
I think the reason he won't, Lynn, get to 2,000, they'll be too balanced. I do think this. I would bet on this if I were a betting man. I would bet they have more than one back over 1,000.
Well, they did a year ago.
Yes.
They almost had 3.
Yes, and I think they'll have 2, and then I think the rest is going to be split.
You're going out on a big branch here.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, I don't think they'll have 3 though.
Okay.
I think you'll have 2 1,000-yard guys, and then the rest of the pie will be split amongst the committee.
Jackson Lonzak, he's going to be a special linebacker for them. Athletic. Oh,
he's tall too.
He is.
He's tall and
comes from some good stock.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Maybe it was you and Sarah on our way to Maria
His
Steinberg.
mom is an Otsego graduate.
Okay, it might have been you guys I was talking to. Yeah, he comes from really good stock, and they've got depth for days. I mean, there's names that you've never heard of, kids that are going to contribute on that team. So, but Patrick Henry also has a head coach who's been through the battles and knows what it takes. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah.
I don't.
They're the most equipped team in the trenches to compete with
Correct.
Liberty. Now, Patrick Henry's lines are good, but I think Liberty's they're on a little bit higher level than what even Patrick Henry has. If you look at lines in the small school divisions around this area this season, Patrick Henry's right there.
Yeah, they are. We saw a bunch of their kids at our combine too. I mean, they've got some good looking dudes.
Adrian Delgado's back up front. And I know their kids have said he's the meanest of the bunch.
And
you know they got Grant Smith.
Well, Grant Smith and Trent Johnson are. I mean, those guys are dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just are they going to have the depth and staying power to go 48 minutes?
Yeah, no doubt about it. But should be a good year for Patrick Henry too. I just don't think they have enough to overcome that monster that is Liberty Center. You look at the rest of the league: Evergreen 6-5, 4-3. Barry Bach leaves. Go back to Northview where he's the defensive coordinator. Hunter Coles takes over at Evergreen. Arch, both kind of a down year for them. 6-5, 4-3. They were young, played a lot of sophomores and freshmen a year ago. Delta, young too. Mike Vickers back for them. Do they have enough to move up the standings? And then you have Wasion, Bryan, and Swanton. Teams that are just in a little bit of a slide, and I don't know how they get it back.
Lynn, when we look at these leagues, all the leagues, okay, one of the schools that I scratch my head when I look at, this goes all the leagues combined, is the Wauseon Indians. And the reason I say that, for 50 straight years or more, when you talked about the NWOAL, they were always in the conversation, at least most of the time. Mm-hmm. Nobody even mentions Wauseon as a contender anymore.
It wasn't that long ago they were a contender.
I know it. I just...
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. So maybe they're quietly going about their business, and they're going to maybe pull a surprise. But they're a puzzle for me. I think the Golden Bears under Scott Staten, I think they're coming.
Yeah, their junior high was undefeated here in the last couple of years, I believe. They didn't lose a game.
Yeah.
They have some talent coming. Yeah. They can stick around and keep those kids out for football.
Yeah. So Swanton, I don't know that
the dynamic has changed in the community there for Swanton.
It just has.
Yeah.
It just has. And I don't know how much their fortunes are going to change this season. I think baby steps, setting realistic goals, like, I won't get specific what those goals should be, but I think, you don't get running clocked. I mean, that would be an attainable goal. Like, as crazy as it sounds.
Liberty 1, PH 2, who's 3 in your mind in the NWOAL this season? That's maybe the biggest competition that we're looking at in the NWOAL, unless something really crazy happens at the top with the 2 rivals here in Henry County, PH and LC.
For me, I'd say Archbold and Delta.
They're the next.
I think the next tier.
Interchangeable?
I think interchangeable. Now, remember, Archbold got them last year. Archbold got them. Archbold was kind of up and down, and that was a game where they kind of got healthy.
They scored a lot of points in the last 3 minutes. Maybe
yes,
20,
they did.
Maybe 3 touchdowns.
They were down 17-0 or something.
Yeah.
Now, Evergreen has some dudes back. Okay. But Evergreen just hasn't done it consistently enough, for me to mention them. But they may be 5th. But I like Liberty Center, Patrick Henry, and then Delta Archbold, Archbold Delta. And then I think, but could Wauseon knock off a Delta or an Archbold? They should be able to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Evergreen a year ago, 6 wins, 0-10 Elmwood, a 1-9 Rossford team. Got Archbold. That was kind of their big one. Also beat Delta in 2 overtimes, and then their other wins were Swanton and Bryan. Kind of took advantage maybe of a little bit of a down year.
But, and a new coach.
Can they, can they do that again to Delta and Archbold?
Yeah. I'd be impressed if they could.
Yeah. Can they keep it rolling with Barry Bach exiting, and he was coach of the year in the league a year ago, was well deserved.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Their best season since 1984.
Yeah.
When Bill Enselman, little tidbit here, was their offensive coordinator.
Dave Teakin, head coach, right?
Yeah.
I know who my Battle Royale NWOAL winner is now.
I got a clear-cut favorite.
I do too.
In the NWOAL.
I do too. He's not one of the longest tenured, I'll tell you that. My guy.
Well, my guy played in the pits.
My guy is Scott Staten.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes. I don't even know if it would take him 2 minutes to wreck the rest of this crew in the NWOAL.
Yeah. And as much as I respect all these guys, David Dominic, I was high on him. I picked, last time we did this, it was Eric Keller at Swanton, remember?
That's right, yeah, you did pick Coach Keller, yeah.
Old school strength.
Yeah.
But Scott Staten.
Scott Staten may be the toughest dude of all coaches in the entire area. I'd put him in my top 5 without studying it too much. He'd be a problem.
He would.
He knows where the weight room is, I can tell you that.
Yeah, he does. He does. And so maybe at the end, as we look through each of these leagues, we'll come up with a winner. If you threw all of them. We got like 12 or 13 leagues here on our list.
Yeah. Some of these leagues we don't know a lot of the coaches very well. A little bit tougher for us. Catholic High School League, we don't get up there into the Detroit area to know those head coaches.
There could be some bad dudes up there.
There could be. Let's take another break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the Western Buckeye League. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gherkin provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
Thank you to American Freedom Energy, the host of our podcast and Rise and Rewind on Saturday morning. Speaking of Rise and Rewind, new sponsor for that this season. Good friend Norm Zeider at the Swanton Welding Company is sponsoring Rise and Rewind. We'll be back a week from this Saturday, August 23rd, I believe it is. 9 a.m. will be our first show as we recap all of the area action that morning.
I love that. I look forward to Rise and Rewind. Now, you do all the work behind the scenes, getting ready for that show, as I'm relaxing with my feet up on Friday nights. But I love Rise and Rewind, Lynn.
I do too.
I really enjoy coming in here and in the coffee club, and we've kind of developed a little following. People look forward to it, so that makes us feel good.
If I can survive the tongue lashing I take from Coach Lindgren every Saturday morning. Some Saturday mornings I walk in here and I feel like I'm about, 2 inches tall when Coach Lindgren lights into me about something. I feel like maybe I'll just go home, take my ball and go home for the day. But you know what? I'm not scared of Coach Lindgren. So I button it up and I do the show with his criticism in the background the whole morning.
It's 2025, right? And we're supposed to be a little more sensitive as a society. Well, listen, Coach Lindgren didn't get the memo, okay? And, he is ruthless and relentless and savage. But at the end of the day, we know what some others don't. He's a teddy bear.
Yeah.
He is a teddy bear. But, boy, he likes to dish it out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, can't wait for that. August 23rd, 9 a.m., Rise and Rewind will be back, and you can watch us on YouTube Live this season. Going to do the show live that way. Some folks have asked for us to do a live video of it. We'll do it that way, and I think there's a way I can also do it like we have in the past on our network. Sports.
Oh, okay. Audio only?
Both way, yeah.
Okay.
Audio only, or if you want to watch on YouTube Live, you can do that as well.
I look forward to it.
Can't wait for that.
I'm thankful, Lynn, for our listeners and our followers. We get so much cool feedback, and you'll share things with me, and I'll share things with you, and it's just really cool. And I got an incoming call right now, Norm Zeider.
He probably wants to know what time Rise and Rewind is starting on the 23rd. Is that what he wants to know?
I don't know. Should I answer it and put it up to my microphone?
Yeah, we'll save that. Well, maybe we can get Normie out here that morning. Talk a little bit about what's happening at the Swanton Welding Company.
I would love to. I would love to. I'll even grab him on my way in. I'll take County Road S.
I can grab him too because I have to go that way because they can't get this highway fixed here on 109, so I got to take the long route.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm gonna shoot him a quick text, tell him we're recording the podcast because he's one of our most valuable sponsors.
Yes,
and I don't want to.
We got to keep him happy.
I don't want to upset him.
Yeah. Maybe we'll bring some donuts in or something that morning for the crew. Maybe that'll soften the blow with Rex.
I would.
Do you think that would help?
If
he sees me walking in here with a box of donuts, you think?
I think he would be nice until you surrendered the donuts.
That's true.
And then
probably wouldn't get him the right kind, and then he'd have some kind of issue with that.
I don't think he's picky.
That is a good point. Also, our KK Collision football show coming up this upcoming Monday, August 18th. we have the LC Old Timers guys joining us.
Wow.
We may need to edit that a little bit with some of the crew joining us that night.
It's a good thing it's not live.
Yes.
Right?
Would need the bleep button, I'm sure, a few times. If you're free Monday night, probably around 7-ish, stop on out here to American Freedom Energy. You're welcome to listen live to those guys.
That would be...
You're always welcome. Podcast, Rise and Rewind, football show. You're always welcome. Stop on out.
We'd love it. And you mentioned Kyle Kern at KK Collision, another institution here, not just in Henry County and Liberty Center, but Northwest Ohio, the work they do and the generosity.
Yes.
It's, I was watching a Tomato Festival parade on LC Tiger Sports Live the other night.
Okay.
And I think every third car in the parade with one of the pageant contestants. I want to thank Kyle and Michelle Kern for the use of their car. So super selfless, wonderful LC Tiger supporters.
Another Kern that we're going to have on our football show is we're going to look back at the 1993 NWOAL season. We had almost 3 state champions, Montpelier, David Rose and crew. Todd Friend, who played on that team, was working on some Montpelier guys to come on that night. Keith Kern will be here from the 93 Liberty Center team that we talked about that lost in the state final in heartbreaking fashion. And then we're going to have Corey Greggs. That's a name our listeners, I'm sure, have heard, maybe not heard of in a while, but Corey Greggs will be here. Tyson Langendorfer from that 1993 state championship Wasion team.
I was in Massillon that weekend, Lynn, and I was heartbroken because the 93 Tiger seniors were all juniors my senior year. Keith Kern, Chris Ward, Charlie Bosman, all those guys. And then the guys that were sophomores, Rex and Ryan Miller in that class. Rex was an outstanding sophomore quarterback. He stepped in and did a great job. They were freshmen when I was senior. And then Wasion, the field goal against, you remember who?
Ironton.
Colin Lane.
Got roughed on the first attempt. Had a do-over.
Had the old flat nose kicking shoe.
Yes.
And Corey Greggs and Tyson Langendorfer, that team, oh man, they were dynamic.
Ben Meyer, who transferred from Napoleon. He's a bad dude.
He was a tough guy.
Yeah.
Yep, that was unbelievable. That was a great NWOAL football season.
Yeah, and then crew over at Montpelier, they had a nice run as well that season.
Yeah, the only team that beat us my junior year was Montpelier. We went 9-1 and won the league my senior year, and David Rose, he was unbelievable.
Yeah. Going to visit with those 3 teams from 1993. Can't wait for that. We don't have an exact date, trying to round those guys up. Did you get on the horn with Chris Ward? You got Chris lined up for us?
No, but I did mention that, didn't I? Chris will do it. He is in Fremont, Ohio.
Okay.
Chris Ward. I forgot. We talked about that Sunday. We've got to get Chris Ward. Corey Griggs is someone I've stayed in touch with over the years.
Have you?
Lynn. Stayed in close touch to Corey Griggs. His oldest daughter played basketball against my daughter, and now she's playing softball at Pitt. And then the other daughter, Florida State softball scholarship.
Yes.
Just holy terrors on the softball field.
Yeah.
And just like he was a superstar.
Yeah, there's some lineage in that family. Blanking on the
Rick Volk.
Yes.
His uncle.
Yeah.
His mom, Claudia, her brother, Rick Volk.
Good
legend.
memory. Yeah.
Michigan, right? Baltimore Colts.
Think so. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. Looking forward to that. We'll get you a date on that one. We also have 125 years of Defiance football.
Wow.
Coming in. That's September 22nd, I believe. Is that going to be that show? Let me go through the list here. The KK Collision football show that we have coming up this season.
You lined up some dandies, Lynn.
I'm working on it. I am working on it. LC Old Timers, August 18th. August 25th, Lynn Schrickle, former Napoleon coach.
He's a dandy.
Yep. Defiance, September 22nd. We have some Grove military guys coming on October 6th. Patrick Henry's 2005 state championship team is coming on October 13th.
That'll be fun.
Those guys lined up.
That was a close-knit football team.
Yeah, it was.
With Brian Yarnell and Mark Krause and Zach George. And I mean, those guys were united. Strube was tough. Kuzel was a bad dude.
Yeah, they had another Kuzel lineman.
Yeah, I can see him. He was a road grader.
Yeah, they had
tougher
a
than
nickname
heck.
for him, too.
Yeah, they called him...
I'll think of it.
No, I'll tell you here before we're done. I can see him. But Kuzels were tough.
Yeah, yep. We also have some guest pickers as well for our podcast starting next week, week 1, and we're going to put them to the test because they're going to pick all the games. Tommy Ward from Defiance played at the University of Toledo. Great linebacker for them.
Got a state championship ring, right?
Was, yep. September 8th, Kenny and Brady Stabler will be joining us.
We'll have our work cut out that night.
September 15th, Jerry Snodgrass will come up from Findlay to join us. September 22nd, Dick Cromwell, the Hall of Fame St. Francis coach.
That was fun talking to Coach Cromwell last year.
Good guy, yes. And another guest picker, Kevin McCann. Remember Kevin McCann?
Rambos, I remember him well.
Tenora,
he was a stud.
Oh, yeah. October 13th, Kevin will be on and working on a couple other guys as well that we hope to get on our podcast as special guest pickers this season.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Going to be good. Western Buckeye League. Walpock has won every title, as I mentioned earlier, going back to 2018-2020. Did not give out a championship trophy because of the COVID year. Has either won it outright or tied for it at least. They were 12-1, 9-0 a year ago. St. Mary's was second at 7-2, 10-3 overall. Defiance 6-3 in the WBL, 7-5. Bath, nice season for them. Frank Russell's got Bath turned around, 5-4 in the league, 6-6 overall. Salina was 5-4, 6-5 overall. OG, Coach Schreiner did a nice job, 5-4 in the league, 6-6 overall. Van Wert, 3-6, 4-6 overall. Elida 2-7 along with Kenton, and then Shawnee was 1-8 a season ago. Wapak, ton back. Caden Page, Caleb Moyer.
Speaking with those guys last Sunday at our kickoff show, Lynn, Wapak looks the part. Holy smoke. Those guys walked up to our table and sat down, and I thought, my goodness, I know you can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Good Lord, they looked the part. They're going to win getting off the bus, too, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just Caleb Moyer suffered an injury the last two playoff years, and haven't had him for their playoff games, which has really hurt them.
I think this could be the year.
Well, it's their last chance.
I know.
With Caleb, he's got a younger brother coming up. That's a freshman.
Yep.
Another quarterback, I believe.
I think they've got a shot to contend for a title.
Anybody else? Can anybody else contend with them? St. Mary's game a year ago was 28-14. You know, the wing tee that Bo Fry runs, that can slow the game down. They can have some long drives. They can keep that dangerous Walpock offense off the field.
That would be the one team that I was going to mention, St. Mary's. And again, I'm a big tradition guy in that. St. Mary's on the right night. On the right night, things would have to go well. But St. Mary's has the makeup in their DNA. They could get it done. Was any team more snake bitten last year than Kenton?
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
Salina played Walpock tough too, 21-17 in the season, regular season finale. That was another tight matchup there. But Kenton had a bunch of games a year ago that were close. Lost by 3 to Eastwood. Lost by 7 to Elida, by 3 to Salina, 7 to Defiance. Lost by 21 to Walpock. St. Mary's got them pretty good. Van Wert beat them by 1, and then they beat Shawnee by 1. Every one of their games was pretty close. Almost.
Wow.
7 of the 10, I believe, were within a possession a year ago.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Curious to see. Coach Recker's done a fantastic job at Van Wert. Last year was a little substandard by Van Wert.
Yeah.
Recent history. I think Van Wert gets back to the top half this year.
Okay.
I really do. I think, just talking to Coach Recker last week, I think he feels good. One of the things I'm always eager about, because I really respect him, is Ken Schreiner at Ottawa Glandorf. They've been down a little bit. Last year bounced back a little bit.
Right.
Do they have what it takes to be in the top 3 or 4 of the league? We'll see.
Where's Defiance fit in? Lost that great senior class.
Yeah.
Can they kind of stay in that top 3, top 4 that they've been on in the last few years?
No, and Steve Rittenauer's a good friend of mine, Lynn. I always, as a former Napoleon coach, I always tried hard to hate Defiance. And I did for 48 minutes, on those Friday nights, but it was next to impossible because of Jerry Beauty, guys like Joe Voll, Steve Rittenauer, Joe Keewan, who's on staff now. He was such a class act as a player. Guys like Kirk Lehman. I could never hate Defiance as much as I wanted to.
Barry Parsons,
just what a great guy.
Stay tuned to our halftime show next week, next Thursday from Defiance. Barry's going to be joining us again.
That's
always glad to have him on halftime.
So classy. If we were laying odds here and I had to bet, I Defiance more in maybe the 6 hole.
Okay.
Coach Rittenauer, it ain't gonna be for lack of effort, lack of toughness. I'm telling you, and I think we'll learn a lot about Defiance next Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do.
It's been a numbers battle for them a little bit. They haven't been real deep here the last few years, and I don't know how they get more kids out for football. But that's a challenge at a lot of places.
It is, and it shouldn't be at Defiance. Defiance is a football town. Defiance is a blue-collar, tough town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It should not be a battle. And I think maybe, and I don't like to step out of my lane too much. I know I do sometimes, but there's too much specialization, maybe. I'd like to see some of their top athletes across the board venture into the football arena, and I know football's not for everybody, and I'm not saying everybody should play, but there are kids that I think could play and would benefit personally, and then would benefit the program if they did it. And I'd like to see more multi-sport athletes there.
One more question on the Western Buckeye League: can Walpock, their goal is a state championship, could they contend with the likes of a Central Catholic in your mind if that matchup came to fruition, or would that be a little too much? You saw the graphic that Central put out
with 12, the Division I.
12 Division I offers on their roster.
No, I just don't. I think
we don't know about the rest of the Division III world. It's a little early on in the year, and how it will play out. Maybe in that division.
I just think there's just certain, there's laws of physics and certain things that you can't defy. And I think Travis Moyer is one of the best football coaches in any of these leagues we're talking about. Mm-hmm. He may be top 5 or better. So those kids will be in position. They have the dudes to get it done, but Central Catholic's just another animal. I mean, 12 Division I offers,
Yeah.
Or 12 players with multiple Division I
Victor
offers.
Singleton, one of the best DBs in all America, going to Texas A&M, and then Preston Frizzell, their tight end, headed to Notre Dame. That's pretty tough to contend with.
Oh, boy.
Who's your winner in a WBL Battle Royal? This is one we have never touched.
No, we haven't.
I have a couple contenders.
Now, you want to talk... If it lasted more than a round, Ken Schreiner would have some trouble. But if he got his hands on you, Ken Schreiner, I think, would pound everyone into submission. But he's getting a little long in the tooth, okay? Steve Rittenauer would fight to the death, okay? He would fight to the death, and then if you got him down, he'd bite your ankles, he'd bite your fingers.
I mean, he could lose a couple legs, and he
wouldn't care.
Yeah.
And so Coach
He's the most ferocious of the bunch.
He is.
Say that.
Yeah, he's a wild animal, that guy. Bo Fry. Yeah, I mean, it's in his DNA. He's a pretty tough guy. I'm going to take the easy way out. As much as I like Ken Schreiner, Steve Rittenauer.
You got Rit?
I got Rit. Because if here's the deal. If I were going to battle into the foxhole, which WBL coach am I taking with me? I'm taking Steve Rittenauer. I'm just telling you. I'm taking Steve Rittenauer into the foxhole with me. Therefore, he's my pick.
You know who my pick is? Keith Rucker at Van Wert.
You know what? When we talk,
toughest St. John's guy.
Oh yeah, he's tough, but
he's from the MAC, buddy.
I know. You know why I didn't pick him?
Really good St. John's teams.
Do you know why I didn't pick him? Because the whole time he talked to us on Sunday, he had a smile on his face.
Yeah, but I think somebody get one punch on him, that he would go crazy.
You don't think he'd still be smiling?
I don't think he would.
It was one of the nicest coaches we've ever interviewed.
Yeah.
So, but you think he's got a mean streak in him?
Yeah. Keith Record carry you from one to one.
I personally don't want to find out, but Steve Rittenauer.
Bo Fry could be a problem.
Yeah.
Bo is...
I guarantee he still pumps iron.
Yeah. And then Ken Schreiner's my other one. I think it'd be between those three. Those would be the last three standing.
Again,
Ken Schreiner's a bad man.
Oh, I know he is.
But I'm just, like you said, he's long in the tooth.
Yeah, he is.
20 years ago, he would have...
I think the cardio would be the issue for Coach Schreiner.
Yeah.
But, see, he's wise, too. Those old guys, they know all the tricks. He may just stand back and let those young guys duke it out and conserve his energy and then just clean up.
I agree. Let's move it to the Northern Lakes League. Going to start in the bigger school Buckeye Division, which Clay is joining this season after winning the Cardinal Division a season ago at 4-0 in the Cardinal and 8-3 overall. First conference championship in a long time for the Clay Eagles. Anthony Wayne tied Findlay and Whitmer for the 2023 title. Went 5-0 a year ago. Whitmer 9-3, 4-1 in the Buckeye last season. Perrysburg 10-3, 3-2 in the league. Findlay 4-7, 2-3. Obviously lost Ryan Montgomery in that first game against Central Catholic. Landon Eccleberry stepped in. You know where Landon Eccleberry is now, right?
I sure do. He's at Clay.
Yes, he is, playing for Derek Pennington. Northview was 0-10, 0-5 as Barry Bach tries to turn that program around. Could we see a changing of the guard after Anthony Wayne has been at the top the last two seasons, Coach?
You know what? Again, I want to say yes, we'll see a changing of the guard, but I get burnt every time I pick against AW. And Andy Brungard and those guys thrive on that. And so the easy default pick when you look at those six teams is Whitmer. Why shouldn't it be? I mean, my goodness, with their enrollment and their
coach.
New coach.
Keller there.
Yeah, veteran of the program, right? Mm-hmm. It's picking against Whitmer is like picking against Central Catholic. I mean, you're like rolling the dice to do that. Anthony Wayne, every time I think they were hit too hard by graduation, they have next man up. And they have one of the best coaches in Northwest Ohio, in Andy Brungard. This would be a tough picking this division.
I'm going to pick Whitmer.
Are you?
The easy way out.
Are you?
Yeah, I think they got too much.
Okay.
Too much for the rest of the league this season.
Okay. I'll tell you who I think is kind of quietly waiting in the weeds, and I know they're not like a sleeper because they've been really good the last 20 years, is Perrysburg. I think they're kind of waiting in the weeds, but I'm going to go with Anthony Wayne. I'm going to go with Anthony Wayne because I try to learn my lessons, even though it doesn't appear so sometimes. I'm going to go with the Generals just because they do a great job of taking it week by week, and Andy Brungard gets them prepared. I'm going to go with AW. Plus, I think his son, Porter Brungard, I think he's the real deal
at quarterback this season for them.
And we'll see once it starts flying, how he responds because he's young.
Where does Clay fit into the Buckeye mix? And maybe a better answer after we see them at Walpock.
Yeah.
Derek Pennington's had some great success up in the Wolverine State.
Yes, he has. And we know Clay kids are tough.
Yeah, they have a lot. Right? They have good depth. They have numbers.
I think three teams finish ahead of Clay. I think it's Anthony Wayne, Whitmer, Perrysburg, and then Clay.
Okay.
That's how I think it plays out. Findlay, I'm confused. I'm not sure what Findlay is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I was at the Findlay Napoleon basketball game this winter, and I know it's basketball and this is football, but it just wasn't the same Findlay. And so I don't know, if it's the classes coming through, the numbers or whatever. I don't know what they have going on there. So I'm curious. They could shock us.
No.
Right?
Lost their quarterback.
They had high hopes for him, right?
Yeah. Big baseball kid, too.
Yeah, superstar, right?
Yeah.
From what I hear. So Northview, I think Barry Bach was the right guy. I really do. And I think help is on the way for Northview. Do I ever think it'll get them to the point where they can beat Perrysburg, A.W. Whitmer? No, I don't. I think they can get to the point where they can get to 5-5, 6-4 with the right schedule and get in the playoffs with a 12-team tournament. I really do. Not this year, maybe not next year, but I think they have enough coming. And Barry Bach, if he stays, I think he'll get them back to respectability.
Sylvania kids pulled in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Well, and not just between Northview and Southview.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. I've always said this, Lynn. I know nobody cares. I couldn't coach in that neck of the woods. I couldn't.
Yeah. Steve Hardy's done a fabulous job.
I know he has. Done an unbelievable job. Because when you're up there, I mean, you've got to, quote unquote, recruit your locker room. You got to recruit your own kids daily.
Yeah.
Because there's other forces. But here's the thing. I want to be fair. There's some great opportunities out there. I mean, if I'm raising a kid in that general area and my kid has a chance to play for Greg Dempsey or Josh Linke or Joe Horn, I think he's going to build something there at St. John. I mean, that's tempting, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm also a hometown guy.
Right.
So.
Right. Do you like the setup of the 2-division NLL? Liberty Benton coming in next year, they will go to the Cardinal division, so you'll have 6-6. Coached in this league before it split up.
Yeah. Can I be honest?
Yeah, of course, always.
I like the addition of Liberty Benton.
Is there some things that maybe still need worked out? Do we need 8 and 8?
Well,
we have these crossover games.
See, my qualms might sound petty, Lynn. I don't like using the term conference champion. I like to call it what it is. It's a division champion of the Northern Lakes League. You won your division because to win the Cardinal, you've got to finish higher than 4 other teams. When the league was whole, to win the league, you had to beat Perrysburg. You had to beat Anthony Wayne. And so it's great. It's an accomplishment. It's all those, but it's not, to me, I like to call it a division championship. Because if you're the true NLL champion, you're beating AW and Perrysburg. And, you know, I know Whitmer's in there now, but they weren't when I coached. So, and I'm not trying to discredit anything at all. But
it's a little different when you're playing 4 or 5 league games instead of 7 or 8 or 9.
It just is. I mean, you can argue.
And you, I'm not going to name any names, but a couple of those games are kind of gimmies anyway.
Yeah.
If you're a pretty good team.
Well, that's how I feel about it. So I think to answer your question, in order to give it a little more credence, now there's some quality football teams and some quality coaches here. And Richard Brown, the NLL commissioner, is a good friend. He's the best. In order to give it a little more credence, for my money, you need a few more teams. 5 doesn't do it. I know Liberty Benton makes it 6. I still think you need another 1 or 2. I don't know where they're going to come from, but I'd like to see them grow a little bit. I just would.
Is this league sustainable, how it's shaped right now? We're talking football, not other sports, but from a football perspective, is this sustainable for a decade or longer in your mind?
Man, you asked some good questions, Lynn.
Because I've heard some rumblings.
Yeah, no. I think
maybe is not. That it maybe is not.
Here's why I would have some reservation saying yes to its sustainability. Here's why. And I'm not going to say specific schools, but I think there's several schools, more than 1 or 2, several schools that given the right opportunity in knowing they need to do what's best for their kids, I think they would jump at the chance maybe to go elsewhere based on their current situation here. Some of these schools I think are locked into this. I really do. I think they're locked into it. But there's some others that I think if they were presented with other opportunities might jump at it. I really do. 3 or 4 of them.
I agree with that.
You know?
I agree. Yeah.
So I want to see it. The NLL is unbelievable conference. I mean, what Jim Mazey did at Southview, you know, when they were rolling, And, I mean, there's too much history to even talk about it all, but to be sustainable, I think it's got to grow. I just do. Mm-hmm. And I know they play crossover games and that they don't mean anything.
Right.
You know, so I'd like to see you have to beat some heavyweights to claim a championship. That's me.
Let's move over to the Cardinal Division. Fremont Ross 5-6 a year ago, 3-1 in the Cardinal Division. Bowling Green 6-5, 2-2. Napoleon went on that great playoff run, just 1-3 though in the conference. Southview 3-7, 0-4, and then Springfield coming over from the Buckeye Division where they were 2-8, 1-4. Sam Arredondo, the new coach at Springfield, is they replace LaCharles Smith, who is now the defensive coordinator at St. John's.
Those kids need stability.
Yeah.
At Springfield, and I know things happen, but those kids need stability because we talked about some of those forces that affect the Sylvania schools. Mm-hmm. Those same forces affect Springfield, and without stability, it's just easy for kids to abandon ship every time there's a coaching change. And so I think Coach Arredondo, and just the limited videos and things I've seen online, it seems like there's some buy-in. I like his enthusiasm, his energy. They've got unbelievable facilities at Springfield. Pat Gucciardo, did a great job when he was there. They've got to be able to keep their kids, though, because this program looks a lot different than it did 5 years ago, Lynn.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Maybe the toughest, it's division, but toughest to maybe get a good judge on for me this season.
It is.
I mean, maybe take Springfield out of the mix with them trying to kind of rebuild a little bit, but are the other four, can you say they're totally out of the picture of winning this division?
No, there are 1, 2, 3, I think there's 4 teams out of the 5 that could win it. Now, what I've heard from multiple people is I hear Fremont Ross.
Fremont Ross is my pick, yes.
Okay, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think I'm a big Chad Long fan. I really am. They've been inconsistent. But again, when your crossover games are the gauntlet that some of these schools play, when your crossover games include like Whitmer, Anthony Wayne, and Perrysburg, for crying out loud, good Lord, it's hard to keep the ship afloat. So Fremont Ross, I'm a big Chad Long fan, but I'm going to pick Napoleon. And now they lose. Owen Espinoza, Trey Rubenstein, Parker Woods. They lose some dudes, but they have George Eggers. If George Eggers is healthy the entire season, I don't care who these guys put on the field, Fremont Ross included, you can't tackle the man. He is an absolute bull in a china shop. If George Eggers is healthy, I'm not saying he won't be. I don't know some secret. He's going to take some wear and tear. He's going to play some defense too. If George is healthy, he's going to run wild, and I like the Napoleon Wildcats to win the Cardinal.
The Little Giants beat him a year ago, though.
I know they did, but I saw some footage from that game that dramatically impacted the game.
That is true.
Okay, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, so
I like Fremont Ross, though, this season.
Well, here's what I'll tell you is historically, Fremont Ross, when we were in the Greater Buckeye Conference, when I first got to Napoleon in 2008, those Fremont Ross teams, keep in mind, that's where Charles Woodson played, so that's, I cannot argue with you. I think that Southview's always a factor with Coach Steve Hardy, but again, the crossover games are not all created equal, my friend.
No, they're not.
And so it's almost not fair when you have to get into Cardinal Division play and you've crossed over against Whitmer, Peaburg, AW. They're not all equal.
No,
so
I agree. Who wins an NLL Battle Royal? We're throwing both divisions in here. We're not doing this by division. I got one clear-cut winner. I don't know a whole lot about Derek Pennington yet, though.
I got my winner. I've got my winner. And I'm a big Andy Brungard fan, but I got my winner.
Chad Long would clean up.
It's Chad Long.
He's a bad man.
It's Chad Long. Now, Coach Swery was a tough guy at Pandora and then at Ohio Wesleyan. So I'm not scoffing at him. Steve Hardy would be a handful too. But I know too much about Chad Long's Clyde roots.
He's got some street cred.
He's got a lot of street cred. And I'll tell you who has more street cred than Chad Long is his brother Ray Long.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, give me Chad Long.
And I don't know much about the new coach at Springfield, Coach Arredondo.
He looks athletic to me. Like he'd be scrappy, quick. But no,
Chad Long may just clean everybody's clock in our whole coverage area.
I would have to, if we do
Is he in the top three?
Yeah.
We can revisit this at the end as we go through. But
without even analyzing, I know the guys we've picked prior to this.
I'd take him over all of them, I would say.
It was Scott Staten, I think, would be tough too. But Chad Long has a different gear, I'm just telling you.
Yeah. I feel like Chad Long has maybe been in he's got some experience.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Played at Bowling Green, right?
Played at Bowling Green, played well at Bowling Green, won a state title at Clyde. Would just come up and knock your face off at Clyde. I mean, there's a dude that if Chad Long's not on that Clyde state title team, I don't know if they win it. I don't want to say he single-handedly did it, but he was unstoppable.
Yeah, you're probably right. How about the new look to the TAAC this season? The Green Bears have had the upper hand, won the last three, 11-2 a year ago, 4-0 in the TAAC, but adding North Central, Whiteford, Michigan, Todd Teakin, Erie Mason, and Summerfield to the mix. Ottawa Hills is leaving after this year. This is their last year in the TAAC, and then they're exiting. But new look, up to 8 teams. Green Bears lost a lot. A lot. It's going to take a monumental effort for them to stay atop the TAAC mountaintop this season, in my mind. I don't know that they have that ability.
I like the expansion for the TAAC. I thought they were on life support.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Okay. Yeah. And so I like the Bombers with Coach Olin. His offense is high flying.
Are they going to stop anybody?
Well, I don't know.
They going to play defense?
They fooled me that Whiteford game last year, and then after that, they weren't consistent defensively. Montpelier is poised. They're poised to contend for a TAAC championship. If they're healthy, they're going to be there late in the season, I think.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
But this is a tough one to me, but I am going to go with the Whiteford Bobcats.
Yeah, I am too. It's the safe pick.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's pretty young a year ago.
Yeah.
I think their style of play,
Yep.
TAAC teams don't see that.
I agree. And we saw Eden beat them a year ago at Eden.
It's a little different Eden team.
It's a different Eden team. And Whiteford, again, year under their belt, the way they play. Give me the Bobcats.
Montpelier, I like that one. I think Montpelier is going to be right in the mix.
Too.
If they can stay healthy, keep some of their key players on the field the entire season, they'll be right there.
I think so, too. And I hope they are.
I do, too.
Andy Robinson's awesome.
No doubt about it. Looking forward to following the TAAC again this season, Coach. Northern 8, I'm going to have to recuse myself from making a pick here. New commissioner of the Northern 8 this season. Adding Cardinal Stritch to the mix this season as they will go to an 8-man schedule. Holgate, Stryker, Sandusky, St. Mary's Catholic, Chalker, Seymour, McKinley, Danbury, and then also Fremont, Joseph Central Catholic playing 8-man football this season. And if you're somebody out there listening and like to learn a little bit more about the 8-man game or thinking about making a switch or maybe starting football, reach out to me, please. We can have the discussion.
Please do, folks. Lynn, they're lucky to have you, buddy.
Well, thank you for that.
Lucky to have you.
Looking forward to being a part of this.
I love the
A
fact
lot of good folks in the Northern 8.
Darn right there are. And there's
No Toledo Christian. Toledo Christian has been a powerhouse in this conference the last several years and transitioning to the 11-man avenue, which happy for them. They got good numbers all the way down into the elementary and back to 11-man. If you can play 11, play it.
Yep.
But if you can't, play something, play 8.
I love it. And when you look at this Northern 8 Conference, Lynn, there is a ton of tradition in here. And
Oh,
some of the great teams that Sandusky, St. Mary has had. Fremont St. Joseph. Todd Drewsbach was a legendary running back at Fremont St. Joe.
Running back or quarterback?
At Rossford. Was he a quarterback?
I think he might have been a quarterback.
Why was I thinking he was a running back?
I don't know, but I'm thinking quarterback.
Okay.
I may be wrong. You may be right. Pretty sure they played Archbold the year Archbold won state.
Okay.
They played that game at Old Loose Field in Napoleon.
Okay. My senior year in the second round of the playoffs, we played Fremont St. Joe at Bowling Green.
Okay.
They had a dynamic player named Kevin Huntley who went on to play at Wisconsin.
Okay, yes.
And so tons of tradition there. The Sandusky teams of the past were unbelievable. I'm curious to see what happens at Holgate. I think they were hit hard by Coach Colton Wagner stepping down. I thought he did a great job building that program. So
Jamie Grimm coaching at Stryker now, taking over for Kent Holsapple.
Yeah, know Jamie Grimm well, known him for a long time. So I think he'll do a good job. Coach Grimm will do a good job. A couple of these other teams I don't know as much about, but my money.
Chalker has their quarterback back. He was outstanding a year ago.
I remember his stats.
Yeah. Outstanding a year ago.
I'm going to go with Sandusky St. Mary's.
Okay.
Just because I got a little history there with some graduates that are very close to my heart. So I'm going to go with Sandusky St. Mary's. But
I think that's kind of the tenor out there is a lot of folks like Sandusky St. Mary Central Catholic this season in the Northern 8.
Look forward to it.
They got a lot back.
Yeah.
Have some good numbers in the program.
Look forward to following it.
Let's take another break. We're going to come back and talk about the MAC Conference, a new conference that we are adding this season.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
Again, thank you to the Gherkin Companies, as they are the title sponsor of our podcast. Again, this season, can't thank them enough for their support. Also going to sponsor our basketball podcast, which will be here before we know it. Have Coach Krause back with us, and he'll line up some great guests, I'm sure, as well there.
He does a fantastic job.
Yeah, he is. Stay tuned in a couple weeks. Rock solid performance, courtesy of the Gherkin Companies. We'll hand that out weekly to the team that showcased a rock solid showing on a Thursday or Friday night from week 1.
We'll have plenty of candidates, I can promise you that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Midwest Athletic Conference. Going to wet our whistle in this conference this season. Rob Hillegarn, the former commissioner of the MAC, spent one season doing that. Reached out to me a year ago. Used to work at Post Printing, where we print our football magazine. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, go out there and grab one. Around 40 locations around Northwest Ohio and down in the MAC country as well. If you can't find a location, get on our website, blackswampfootball.com, and we can send you one through the mail for $27.50 with shipping and handling in there. I've sent these out to California, Pennsylvania, Oregon, Washington, Georgia, Florida. Our good friend Mike Heilshorn is down in Alabama these days. Coach H, if you're listening, hope you're doing well, my friend. And if you get up this way, we'd love to have you on a show if you ever get back to Northwest Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania.
That is awesome.
It's went everywhere this season.
That is great.
Yeah. How about the Midwest Athletic Conference and their history, Coach? Going to run through their state titles. Marion Local 15, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2019, 17, 16, 14, 13, 12, 11, 2007, 2006, 2001, and 2000. The Flyers have won state championships, 15 of them. Coldwater, 8. Got another one a year ago as Marion Local and Coldwater own Division 6 and 7. 2024, 2020, 15, 14, 13, 12, 2007, 2005, the great John Reed and now Chip Otten leading the way for the Cavaliers. Munster has 3, 2017, 2014, 1989. Anna has 1, that great team they had in 2019 that Archbold and Fairview saw. Boy, oh boy, was that Anna team good. St. Henry, they have 6, have not won one since 2006. Also won one in 2004. Don't want to bring that one up over in the Hamler, Dashler, Malenta area as they knocked off the Patriots in the state semifinals in the mud and muck at Lima Bath. Also won titles in 1995, 1994, 1992, which you're well accustomed to, and also 1990, a year that Archbold had a really good team. Sandusky St. Mary's Central Catholic beat that Archbold team in 1990, speaking of them. Then you go to Versailles. They have 7. Now, they were part of the Southwestern Rivers Conference from 1982 to 2001. The great Al Hetrick teams. Boy, did they have some teams. They have won 7 state titles, 2021, 2003. Those would be the only 2 as MAC members, but they also won in 1998, beating Liberty Center 1995, 94, and 1990. New Bremen's got 2, 2020, 2022. Delphus St. John's has 6. 1997 was their first, then repeated in 98 and 99 under Vic Whiting. Then they also won titles in 2005, 2008, and 2010. And then Fort Recovery, who new coach Wes Winning was a part of the 2015 state championship team as a wide receiver. And then Parkway, the only team in the MAC that has never won a state football championship. Boy, do they have some, the girls' sports are pretty good there in Rockford. And they've had some success there.
Their baseball program.
Baseball has had some great success
really
as well. But, boy, you go through that list, you know, you think of this immediate area, and Liberty Center's got 1, and they're kind of the standard for this area. And then you look at that. What the heck? How do they do it? I mean, you can, and it'd be great to have a roundtable discussion with a bunch of MAC people, you know. You get Tim Beckman, who coached at St. Henry, just a classy guy.
Yep.
Chip Otten, guys like that.
And they're humble.
Humble, yeah.
You know.
But why is it? Why is that part of the nation? And I've asked some MAC people this. Is there any other portion of the United States that's doing what they do? And from their research, no.
No.
Nobody else is matching what they are doing in a small communities, farm country. What the MAC has done, and not just football. You can go down to any sport. It doesn't matter what they play. It could be tiddlywinks, and they'd probably be state champions in that. Yep. I mean, they can do it all.
They can do it all. Lynn, they, as society has changed, and not always for the better, the MAC has always stood firm on their values, morals, and beliefs. The families are the foundation of all of this we're talking about. They go to church. They just, everything that made this country great and so many people have gotten away from, they still hold true to those values. And it comes back to what Sarah told us after our show last Sunday. There wasn't a phone in sight as these kids enjoyed lunch together and played games. They don't get caught up in the outside world. They are focused on faith, family, football, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. Like if you saw a movie made about this, you'd say that's not how it is anymore. Yeah. It might be how it used to be.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you're right.
And you can still coach the living heck out of these kids.
Yeah.
And I know there's places around here you can, but you can coach the heck out of them. You can challenge them. And you can be honest with them. And don't have to sugarcoat.
Yeah.
And, if...
You think their parents are running to Coach Otten or Coach Goodwin or any of the other coaches down there and saying, why is my kid not starting as a freshman?
Yeah. Do you think that do you think that a father who played for Al Hetrick is babying his son when he comes home, or a father who played for Tim Beckman at St. Henry's going, "Come here, son, it's okay. I know Coach Beckman yelled at you tonight," or you know what I mean? it's a way of life, man. And it starts in the family unit, man. And again, they don't bend a knee to some of the things we have in society anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
They hold true.
And they don't leave.
They don't leave.
A lot of these coaches have ties to the MAC. Seth Whiting at Minster, his dad Vic was an incredible coach at Delphus St. John's when they made their runs there in the late 90s. And then Coach Schulte now running the Blue Jay program. He was a star, and his brothers there, the Schultes, are well known in the Delphus area. But boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's just, it's no fluke, but it's unbelievable the stranglehold they've had on things. And they do what they believe is the right thing to do. They don't do what other people do just because it's the fad or whatever. So,
Marion Local, 64 straight. Did you see what they did to opponents a year ago? Outscored them 738-49. Give up 49 points. Now, you know their backups and their third string and their freshmen are playing because a lot of their games are 50-0 at halftime.
Yep.
They have running clocks, so you know the starters aren't in there a whole lot.
Yep.
They gave up 49 points. You would think that, another team's first teamers against their third teamers, and they'd pop a big run or something.
Right.
49 points all year.
And Minster had, 14 of those?
I think they only had 7.
21-0, 21-7, yeah.
Yeah, I think they just had 7 a year ago.
Okay. And that's the only team that came close, right?
Yeah.
Minster.
Yeah. And you look at the All-MAC from a year ago. Senior heavy. Not one kid back from the first team, offense or defensive All-MAC portion.
Wow.
Not one. They were all seniors.
Wow. Interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah. All seniors on each side of the ball. Okay, you going to pick somebody other than Tim Goodwin and Marion Local in the MAC?
No, but
does it end? Does the rain end?
It doesn't, but if it did, it would come at the hands of Chip Otten and the Coldwater Cavs. It just would. Versailles is always tough, and St. Henry this is going to be their year to challenge, but Marion Local, I don't know in what world you could pick against them.
I mean, I'm not picking against them. They haven't lost a regular season game since 2019, Week 8, 27-26 to Minster. Minster barely got them that season.
1 point.
By 1 point. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And one thing I noticed before our kickoff show last week, Lynn, I was looking at last season, and a lot of these MAC schools played a MAC team in the playoffs.
They knock each other out a lot of years.
They knock each other out. And here's the common thread. The MAC teams that play in the regular season and then play again in the playoffs, the scores are almost identical, which means that most of the time in that league, the team that's supposed to win wins.
Yeah.
It's just, Marion Local Minster, 21-0, then 21-7. And a lot of the games were like that. If a team won 48-0 in the regular season, they won 49-3 in the playoffs. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anna lost to Coldwater twice, 45-21 in the playoffs in that matchup there. But, they just pick each other off.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I think St. Henry's a team that's going to make a big jump. Coach Whirling and his crew are going to make a big jump they have a lot back.
Yep. I absolutely do, just based on what I've heard and kind of seeing how they're trending. Does St. Henry play Archbold again this year?
They do. They do. Yep, they come up to Blue Streak Stadium week 2, I believe it is.
Be a nice barometer for both teams.
Yeah, that'll be a big test for Archbold in that one. It's Delphus St. John's.
Yeah.
just made a run to the regional finals.
Fell to Columbus Grove.
Yeah. And in a close game.
In a close game.
They were in the bottom portion of the MAC a season ago. And then we saw Marion Local against that Columbus Grove team. Trent Brazen crew, wasn't much they could do.
No, there just wasn't.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. They just don't make mistakes.
Little you know about the MAC. We've met a few of the coaches. You know the other ones that we didn't have at our show on Sunday. Who wins a battle royal in the MAC?
Coach Schulte at Delphus St. John's would be a handful. I'm telling you that right now. Coach Whiting at Minster would be tough. but I'm going with Chip Otten.
You're going with Coach Otten.
I'm going with Coach Otten. He is undersized in terms of Battle Royals. He's a scrapper.
I was going to say, pound for pound, he
was a
probably
bad
disadvantage there.
He is. He was a bad son of a gun at BGSU. You look at some of the old stats and game articles and clippings. I went down a rabbit hole one time. I didn't realize how good he was at BGSU.
Oh, yeah, I have too.
So
he's special.
Yeah, I think.
Do you think he's still got it?
Yeah. Yep. As classy as he is, he's a tough guy. Yeah.
I got 3 candidates.
Okay.
And I don't know. Maybe Chip could be in there. He's just so nice.
I know he is.
He's the nicest guy in the world. He's so classy. I just don't know that he could really turn it loose.
Coach Whiting's kind of a tank down there at Minster.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe throw him in the mix. But Coach Whirling at St. Henry.
See, you think he'd be a scrapper,
He knows where the weight room is.
Yeah,
he's a pretty big dude. Wes Winning at Fort Recovery.
Yeah, I like him.
And Coach Schulte at Delphus St. John's. I don't know. I can't make a pick though between those 3.
Yeah, Coach Schulte'd be a handful. But
I think I'd give the edge to Coach Schulte.
Yeah, I think
if I had to pick.
I think I would too.
Between the entire group, but that's my estimation there.
Wes Winning at Fort Recovery on Sunday was one of the most well-spoken younger coaches we've ever talked to.
Yeah.
His demeanor, and he gets it. He gets it. Understands relationships, his demeanor, and I think his kids will be a reflection of his demeanor. Even Steven, never too high, never too low.
What about Chris Schmidt at New Bremen? He's put together, but is he too nice?
You know what? He's wiry. He's wiry, and we were talking to their players about him, and they said he probably knows jiu-jitsu or something.
Exactly.
He looks like that type of guy.
There's some unknowns. They got to study this a little bit more.
He's about 4.5% body fat. I'm just telling you right now.
Maybe 3 at most.
Yeah, so he'd be able to go the distance, but I think Chip Otten has some things up his sleeves that he learned on the streets of BG back in the day.
Could be right. Could be right with that one. Let's move it over to the Blanchard Valley Conference. Liberty Benton has won the last 2 BVC titles. 8-0 a year ago. Pandora Gilboa was 7-1. Ada 6-2. Macomb 5-3. Lipsick 5-3. Van Buren 4-4. Arlington 3-5. Riverdale was 2-6. Arcadia and Elmwood both went winless a season ago. Liberty Benton, this is kind of the year they've been building towards. Can anybody match their talent?
No, they can't. First thing I want to ask you, Lynn, is Elmwood going to be better?
Yeah, I think they will be.
I do too.
I think they will be.
I do too. No one is going to be able to slug it out with Liberty Benton, period. End of discussion. The answer is no. But I'll tell you, if anybody's going to, I think one of the teams that can be mentioned in the same breath is Arlington. Arlington Red Devils, based on some intel I have.
Oh, you've been...
Now, they've won, if you look at Ohio's all-time wins,
yeah.
Arlington's up there.
Yes, yes.
That's a proud community that's played football at a high level for a long time. But I think Arlington's going to be really good. Lipsick's going to be tough. Joe Kirkendall's done a great job there. Pandora Gilboys has some kids. Chris Algie at Macomb is always in the discussion. But it's Liberty Benton, and then it's a battle for second, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too. Liberty Benton probably on a collision course in Region 18 with Liberty Center for a regional final, depending on how the seeding shakes out.
Yeah,
I don't think either one's going to lose in the regular season.
I don't either. And I think Liberty Benton would like the chance. I don't know once it happens if they will, but
played them a year ago.
Yeah, and Liberty Benton has the athletes. They're well coached. Scott Garlock's one of the best. Yeah, I think they're on a collision course. I would agree with you, Lynn.
Catholic High School League, as we mentioned, Central Catholic, a dozen Division I recruits they have. St. John's Jesuit, they were both playing in the upper division there, varsity Central Division, and then St. Francis plays in the varsity AA division there in the CHSL. Central Catholic coming off the state runner-up finish a season ago. They got the dudes to do it. Detroit Catholic Central actually knocked them off a year ago to win the CHSL Central Division crown. De La Salle is good. St. Mary's has got some guys, and then Brother Rice and St. John's trying to rebuild a little bit and see what Joe Horn can do at St. John's this season with the Titans. And we know what Josh Linke and St. Francis are going to do this season. They have a nice group coming back. Lehman Christie was the champion of the Varsity A year ago. They went 3-0. Don't play a lot of division games does either side there in the CHSL. But boy, if you look at Central Catholic's schedule, it's pretty good.
Their first 3 weeks, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, rattle those off real quick.
I'm going to.
I can't remember them all in order right now, but they'll take on all.
Walsh Jesuit, Detroit Cass Tech, who they have, I think, 3 or 4 of the top 10 recruits in all of Michigan. Then they have Detroit Catholic Central as well, the first 3 weeks.
Wow. I'm curious, Lynn, to see if St. John's, in short order, Joe Horn hasn't been at the controls very long, if they're going to be able to take a substantial step forward, a significant step forward.
Yeah.
I know anytime you have a change in leadership, kids are all excited, and rightfully so. But when the punches start flying, how are they going to react? We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Joe Horn's a great guy.
I think Central Catholic gets the Varsity Central title, and I'm going to pick St. Francis.
Yep.
On the other side.
100% concur with you.
I think it's pretty much kind of a toss-up. Detroit Catholic Central, which was picked in the preseason poll to win that division. But boy, not a lot separates those two programs.
No.
That'll be a great game.
Yep.
And then Detroit Cass Tech and Central Catholic. That may be, of all the games in our coverage area, that may be the best of the best.
Boy,
in the first 10 weeks of the season.
Be some athletes on that field, buddy.
Yeah, there will be.
Yeah, I agree. Central Catholic and St. Francis.
Yeah. NBC champions, as I mentioned, have always finished undefeated. Oak Harbor's won the last 2, 12-1, 7-0. They lost that great senior class, Michael Lalonde and Carson Reidner. And that crew. Eastwood was 11-2, 6-1 a year ago. Maumee made a big jump. Evan Karchner doing a great job there. 8-3, 5-2. Genoa, they're expecting a big season. Coach Fisher and his Comet, 6-5, 4-3 in the NBC. Otsego, year 2 of Craig Rutherford, 5-6, 3-4. Fostoria was 3-7, 2-5, and then Lake was 3-7, 1-6, and Rossford 1-9 and 0-7 in the NBC. A lot of talent graduated. Eastwood lost all of their most of their skill kids. Shoemaker Kid is back a receiver. They've lost Drew Ludhart, their quarterback, to an injury, suffered in the scrimmage. Drew, we're thinking of you, buddy. Get back out there. We hope to see you late in the season. From what I'm hearing, they hope to get him back in the latter part of the regular season. That would be great for them. Now they lost their quarterback a year ago as well. It worked out pretty good for them. See how Coach Sam Cotterman and his crew can recover from losing another starting quarterback to start the season. That's just bad luck.
Oh, it's terrible. I was so looking forward to Ludhart this year. I was so impressed with him at our kickoff show. I thought, man, what a great kid to lead your huddle, and I was heartbroken to hear that. Outside of the Green Meadows Conference, Lynn, I think this is the most difficult conference to pick. I really do.
I would even say it's tougher than the GMC because I think you can go Oak Harbor, Eastwood, Maumee, Genoa. I think any of those 4 you can maybe make the argument for. I think the GMC's 3.
Yeah. Pretty clear, yeah.
Yeah, and who knows what Otsego is going to do.
Well, I was going to say
with Craig Rutherford and that wing T system.
See, betting against Craig Rutherford, to me, is a lot like betting against Andy Brungard. They almost want you to do it.
Yeah.
Because the way they go about business, they're so controlled and humble. I tell you one thing I think, and it doesn't matter, but I think Oak Harbor is going to be better than people realize. I think there's people in the league kind of exhaling, going, okay, Reidner and those guys are gone, finally.
Speaking of Schultes, Scott Schulte's boy plays for Oak Harbor.
Yes. And Oak Harbor, when you put a string together like they did the last couple of years, it's contagious. I think Oak Harbor is going to be a contender. I really do.
They kind of had Liberty Center on the ropes.
They did.
That game.
They were equal to the task.
I think it was 14-10. They completed that long pass to maybe the 20, and they score there. It's 21-10, early fourth quarter.
You know that's a game that Oak Harbor looks back at and says, we could have got them.
Yeah.
And then
they were driving for the winning field goal or tying field goal or winning touchdown late before Stephen Brogan stepped in there and made the interception.
Yeah, they were the real deal. The Eastwood, the Ludhart injury concerns me, but I know that Coach Cotterman, there's a solid foundation there. That's not a house of cards, so they're going to be able to sustain some things there. I am going to go with, and you may call me crazy, but I'm going to go with Genoa.
Dang, you stole my thunder, man.
I didn't think you would go with them. I
was maybe leaning towards Eastwood before the Ludhart injury.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of how I was. I just think Genoa, I like communities that are tough. And if you look at Genoa football over the past couple decades, they're tough, I think there's been stretches where, in my own humble opinion, they've underachieved a little bit the last couple of years. Not blaming anybody. I just thought they had the firepower to maybe win an extra game or two. But this is the year. Coach Bill Fisher gets them over the hump. I'm going with Genoa.
Yeah. Maybe tell you a little bit more after they play Archibald week 1.
I think so. I think so.
Stumble on that one, I may change. I'm going to have to change my pick, Coach Fisher.
Yeah. If Archibald gets them, I will probably change my pick. I'm telling you, I will toss and turn a little bit tonight, knowing I didn't pick the Otsego Knights. I'm just telling you. Coach Rutherford.
What about Maumee? Ben Kubitz and
Kubitz is awesome.
Lost some talent from a year ago.
Yep. I'll be curious. I'm not quite sold yet. Curious how their game with Napoleon is going to shake out.
Yeah.
That, I think, is going to go a long way. Because if they can't tackle George Eggers, I'm not saying they won't be able to, but if they can't, I think they're going to have some challenges in the NBC. I'm going to go with Genoa. Coach Fisher, don't let me down, dude. I'll find you.
Yeah, kind of wide open.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. And don't be surprised one bit to see.
Does the champion go undefeated like they have every year? Or do we have a champs?
I'm going to say absolutely not this year.
Then who else ties for it? Does another team go 7-1 or 6-1?
I think it could be Oak Harbor. I think it could be Otsego. I think it could be Eastwood. And I'm not disrespecting Maumee. I'm not at all. I need to see.
Could it be Maumee?
No. I need to see.
I'm going on record right now and saying.
I'm going on record. I just need to see.
We have a lot of fans in Maumee. Be careful.
I know we do, and they've been good to us. Cam Kutcher, the AD, is a great guy. I need more of a body of work. And this season will give it to me. I haven't seen enough yet.
What if they knock off your Wildcats?
Then I might change my pick.
Okay.
If
Genoa stumbles against Archibald, Maumee beats Napoleon.
I might be on the Maumee bandwagon.
And what if Otsego comes into Liberty Center and makes that somewhat competitive?
Ooh, that'll raise some eyebrows. I will tell you, here's my barometer here for Maumee Napoleon. If Maumee holds George Eggers under 75 yards, I'm not even going to use the century mark. I'm not even going to say 100. If Maumee holds George Eggers under 75 yards, that tells me that defense is legit.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Okay. Putting you on the spot here a little bit before we end this segment. Anything you're looking forward to, maybe more than something else playing out this season, or how this league plays out, or how this player performs, or there's maybe a matchup down the road that you're looking at?
Well, I'm curious to see if anyone this Liberty Center team, this 2025 edition, is as heralded as I've heard in a long, long time. And I know there's been a long line of great Liberty Center teams. They've gotten about as much fanfare as I can remember in a long time. I'm curious. I don't think anyone's going to be able to hang in there with them. I'm curious to see if PH is going to be able to for 2 consecutive years, because the Patriots did last year.
Everything kind of aligned for Patrick Henry in that game. Liberty, to me, tried to get a little too cute early in that game. Just didn't give the ball to Waylon Rentz.
Yep.
Tried to do some fancy stuff instead of staying with their bread and butter. And then when they finally did, Patrick Henry didn't have much of an answer.
Yep.
Some turnovers were impactful in that game too.
And they were. And I'm curious, going back to our very first conference of the night, can the Bluffton Pirates get off the schneid and beat Columbus Grove? I'm super, super curious about that one. Those would be 2 storylines I'm looking at. Curious to see how Craig Rutherford does at Otsego, to be quite honest with you. I have so much respect for him. Curious to see what he does.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how this Liberty Center team performs. There's a lot of talk that maybe this is the best team they've ever had. And you're saying, oh, well, they lost this guy. They lost Waylon Rentz. They lost him from a year ago. They lost the Cruz triplets a couple years ago and Landon Bachman. You think you go back to the 88 and the 90s teams.
I know.
This could be their best ever.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing them.
I mean, I think they have a great chance to get back to Canton again. I'm interested in that. Looking forward to seeing Wapak week 1 and how they perform against Clay, and also how Clay performs.
Me too.
If Clay can go into Wapak and make that at least competitive, they may have a say in the NLL Buckeye division.
Sure. Their numbers are good.
Yeah.
Coach Gallius left that program healthy.
Yeah. Interested to see if somebody can finally knock off Marion Local in the MAC now that we're covering the MAC this season, because I think the rumor is that maybe this is the year that you get Marion Local with what they lost, that great senior class.
Yeah.
Is this the year? And St. Henry's got a lot back. Can somebody like St. Henry jump to the top of the MAC this season? Somebody can knock off Marion Local there.
Another thing I'm interested in, Lynn, is Steve Rittenauer's first year.
Yeah.
As the head coach at Defiance. Curious to see how they do. Now, he inherited a kind of a project because they were hit so hard by graduation and right into the fire next Thursday in the point.
Tell you, there's one game I already got circled, and Coach Muller's not going to like me saying this, because I'm, he always tells his kids, don't eat the cheese. You're going to be in the state semifinals at least, Coach Muller. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you now. But there's a game in Division 5. Harvest Prep, Liberty Center. I want to see that game. Have you seen Harvest Prep's schedule?
No.
Have you seen it?
No.
Division 5, Region 19. So could they play in the state semis? How they match them up? We'll see now. Harvest Prep's going to have to get by Ironton in that region. They start at Hoban. They go to Woodford County, Kentucky, who's a pretty good program. Host Purcell Marion. Hosting Sandusky Perkins. Go to Bishop Watterson, who won the Division III state championship a year ago. They play Expression Prep Academy from West Virginia. They play Huron Heights from Ontario, Canada. They have St. Vincent St. Mary at home, week 8. At Westerville, Kip Columbus, week 10. They play a Division 2, Division 4, Division 3, Division 2, Division 2, Division 4, and then those out-of-state and out-of-country teams.
Just Hoban and Watterson, for crying out loud. And then St. V, I've coached against St. V.
Those kids have some skill.
Oh, my gosh, and they hit you. God, they're physical. Did you say Pickerington?
Westerville South.
Okay. Jeez, Pete. Liberty Center and Harvest Prep. You think that'd be a hot ticket?
I think we'll get it either state semis or state championship.
Wow.
And I think this is the year Liberty gets it done.
Okay.
Even with Harvest Prep. They have a great quarterback. It's a Boff. He's like 6'3", 230.
Like the
heralded recruit.
Like the South Range guy a couple years ago.
Bigger.
Oh,
I think he's got a connection to Sonora, I believe, as well.
To Tenora?
To Tenora, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
It's the matchup I'm looking forward to.
I love it.
We'll talk about it more as the season progresses.
Yeah, and you know what? I walk away from here. I know I made some enemies, Lynn. I know I made some enemies with some of my picks, and I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it. But
nothing that a cheddar brat can't fix, right?
That's true.
Have you combed the freezer case out here?
Yep, I have. Well, there's some stuff from Sattlers. There's some original brats from Pettisville Meats, which I took home last time I was here. I think I'm going to get me some of that tri-state cheese out there, the Colby Jack block.
Yeah, good call.
And then I'm telling you, the one that I think people sleep on, the ground beef patties from Sonnenberg Farms, Dusty Sonnenberg. Like there's nobody I trust more than him, you know. And they've got Sonnenberg Farm beef patties out here, and Glenn says the steaks out here are really, really good. So I'm gonna leave with something. I already know what I'm gonna leave with.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
we're off and running, Coach. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back on Monday. It will be our first podcast released as the season progresses, August 18th, and then we'll be Mondays most of the year. We have a Labor Day weekend will be Tuesday, September 2nd, and I believe it's week 8 will be on a Wednesday.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll be on Mondays with our podcast and shows.
Okay. I'll be better Monday. I was a little, I know we did a couple kickoff shows, but I just
got to knock the rust off.
Yeah. I'm a little rusty.
We're not at championship level yet, but we'll get there, right?
Not yet. Absolutely. It's our scrimmage season.
Yeah.
It's early.
Yeah.
We got to oil the bike chain a little bit, you know? All right, buddy.
I like that. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, our host here, American Freedom Energy, Grandma's General Store, Glenn and Greg Badenhop.
They're the best.
Swanton Welding Company, and also our title sponsor, the Gherkin Companies. Can't thank the Gherkin Companies enough for their support. We will talk to you again on Monday. Have a great week and a great weekend.